Testing, testing. 1, 2.
Up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pearl Daily here on the Audacity Network. Make sure you like the video on your way in and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you can, do a super chat. Today we're not live on the website, we're only live on YouTube. Please forgive me. As you guys know, I am technically challenged when it comes to the equipment. And it just takes me a second when I'm on the road and I have to figure it out myself. So let me make sure this is on. Like the video on your way in and subscribe, okay?
Let me make
sure. Oh, cool.
I'm using a new technology.
So all of the super chats today are going to go towards our divorce documentary.
Guys, I'm gonna release this trailer
soon. We are so close to done. I might tomorrow.
I may
show you guys a sneak peek behind the paywall.
I'm not sure. I'm just seeing if this can work without the headphones. I mean, it may be able to just right now. That doesn't seem to... Let me check something here. Maybe I can do it like this. No.
Okay. So as you guys here at the Audacity Network, we are committed to learn.
Sounds a little weird, right?
And I have built such a great network of smart, intelligent people over the last couple of years.
And what I want to do is I'm going to bring on to the
I'll work that out another time.
On how to succeed in different industries.
And
tomorrow I'm giving my first presentation after the show.
And I'm
giving the presentation on how to be a YouTuber. I'm going to tell you guys the ins and outs of everything I know. If you are one of the 2 women that watch me, I highly recommend that you do it. I'll tell you how to get into contact with certain people. I'll tell you how to find good editors, good producers. And you can even if you don't want to be a YouTuber yourself,
you make good money selling YouTube services. So if that's something you guys want to get into, other announcement, we are casting. Thank you, Brown Eye Star, for the super chat. We are casting for the next round of divorce documentary interviews. So if you guys have a good divorce, well, I guess not a good story, but like a impactful, I'll say, story that happened in your divorce, please send me an and I've said this over and over and over again, that modern women will latch on to a man's success. Use that man's skills and platform to build themselves up. Take the shorter route to success and then quit and burn bridges on the way out. That is the playbook. Now, what tends to happen
This sounds fine.
Again, the women have a tendency to think that they're more useful
to the organization than
Now,
they
an
are. Now, an example of this is Candace
Owens
Owens and Brett Cooper.
Recently
Recently are the most
Testing,
visible
testing.
cases of this happening.
Both
Both Candace and Brett were part of the Daily Wire, and Candace could not keep her mouth shut when it came to a certain group of people.
She ended up getting
fired. Now, it's not smart to talk about that group of people
that
one of your bosses belongs to. For example,
if I hired
if
someone and they did anti-white stuff, I just don't know if that's your best chess move.
Do you know what I mean?
I just don't know if
that's
the best
way to go about it.
Now Brett Cooper left,
and she didn't really give a reason, but
she did a lot of passive-aggressive and underhanded things on the way out
that painted the Daily Wire in a bad light. Both of these women, Ben Shapiro, their former CEO, Jeremy Boring, thank yous for their success. They should have been thankful, but they did not do such a thing.
Okay, now
this isn't just an issue with right-wing content creators. Recently, Francesca Fiortini, a super left comedian and political commentator, had a falling out with the Young Turks co-creator Cenk Uygur.
Now, Francesca started as a contributor at the Young Turks back in 2016 and started hosting her own podcast in 2018.
Kyle said, congrats for getting monetized. Thank you so much, Kyle.
Now, this is
another case where a woman wouldn't be where she was if it wasn't for a man's hard work. Another case is Pixie Destiny situation. Pixie was obviously blowing Destiny for clout. She thought it was her hard work, but really she was just clout farming.
And then
now
she's suing him
for leaking her nudes.
Her sex tape.
Now, after the election of Donald Trump earlier this year, Cenk slammed the Democrats for how they handled the election. He criticized Kamala Harris as a candidate, and he criticized the left-wing mainstream media and began to pivot its platform, including having conversations with right-wing pundits. 3 months ago, he appeared on stages with Charlie Kirk at Turning Point USA event, and they had a spirited conversation about the election and the future of politics in the U.S. And Francesca didn't like that one bit.
So what?
Share my screen.
So
Francesca says, breaking.
I am not
the Young Turks fan.
Okay, you guys are saying
that she's hot.
Okay,
guys.
You can be an
attractive woman and not call your boss a bitch.
I don't know.
I'm not.
Oh, it's echo. Is it? Was it the echo?
Was it the echo? Me?
Or was it? It wasn't echoing earlier.
Was I echoing the whole time?
That's the equivalent of this nobody liberal commentator going. Alright, let me go back. Let me start it from the beginning.
Alright.
Recently, asked Ke1Lan3's to take her podcast situation off, and we have
It's like women ask
for divorces, right? And the men are like, okay, see ya.
That's the equivalent of this nobody liberal commentator going to this guy who made a $50 million company and thinking she has any leverage in this situation.
And I'm going to go off the network.
Oh, it's so funny.
I need to So I want to guys and how this whole situation it's about Ke1Lan3 video. And so we're for open parts. And so I want all of you to know that I want unity that believes and invites people that believe in this. And by the way, if you don't believe in these things, I have a certain idea on this, and I have no problem. Tons of shows out there. So first of all, we've had since I certainly have some of the far left. I think they've been relatively small. But if you think they've been large, no problem. They've been around the issue of crime, did crime, 2019, 2023. Well, that's good. And it's okay to have the issues of it. That's not an issue at all. We certainly against abuse and against it. At least as much as show and perhaps I think great time. Benjamin, among others, said that Trayvon Martin would not have gone anywhere near the national team if it wasn't.
You see, again, I don't like this stuff. But here's the thing. Men can put aside their differences, right? And they can still respect a guy that they don't agree with at all. And say, do you know what? He put his hard work and dedication into this, and he built that. Where women, we just don't have that tendency. We have the tendency to say, I don't like you, let me destroy your life. Do you know what I mean? Like, all right, so we'll keep it on.
Nevertheless, we can have this issues, and we do on slogans and framing, for example, on the bonus. These are normal things, and I certainly would never shut down because we're open minds. And of course, we had disagreements on transgender. Just say what my position is, because a lot of people have something have you. So I'm 100% constitutional transgender American.
Oh my gosh. Lord help this country.
The rest of us have the same exact right. They should be protected and vaccines. There should be a lot of military. And I have they should be allowed. Girls should be allowed.
Oh, you guys want me to make the screen bigger? Okay, let me see if I can do that. Let's see. I'll put first. Let me make this big. And then make me small. Okay, we'll swap it. And then put me. Oh wait. Dang it, I did it the other way. Sorry guys. Video on top. They're lucky I used this like 3 years ago. Oh wait, no, I want to. Oh, there we go. That's my problem. Okay, hold on. So the video big. There we go. Me small. Do you guys want me on this side, right or left? I think I'm gonna go right. Left. Okay. Let me go back. Here we go.
World sports. Now, my position on that is not popular in the country. I understand.
Okay, now I'm being told the video volume is low. Okay. That's as loud as it goes. I mean, I can't really do anything else.
Stand there, strategy. Hopefully, I don't go on that one. I don't believe that they should be mandated to play college professional level. I think we should get to make those decisions on their own. I think that is a small
nonsense. No men and women's sports, obviously. That's ridiculous. Oh my god, the absurdity of that. Oh my god. I'm perfectly fine with trans people, but no, you go in the men's room, and if you're passable and you look like a pretty little girl, well, nobody will question if you go in the girls' room. Doesn't really matter that much. The second thing is sports. No. You compete in your own sports. You're born a male at birth, you compete in man's sport. You may not be that good, so what? If you love that sport, you want to compete, you compete against the men. Otherwise, just you're out. You don't compete against women. It's absurd. On that same note, I think women should find a way to fund their own sports, and men should stop having to support them like charity.
Obviously, others say it's a giant.
I mean, I can do this.
But then I mute my mic.
I don't have headphones. This is. I guess.
Disagreement.
But
that's again
not the issue here. I think what the issue is when others among the issues when others say only my opinion is
the correct
one, the moral one. Everyone who disagrees with me is unintelligent, immoral, collaborative, etc. We'll get to the specifics on Francesca in a second. I'm saying that generally.
And
they speak for the left. Well, let's find out if they do speak for the left. This is a little bit of Francesca, a little bit of Emma Vigeland from Majority Report, and spliced in is the actual facts
about what the American people think, and interestingly, what Democratic voters think. First, let's watch this.
I'm a big Messi fan, so but let me
answer my question. Would you allow him, if he said I'm a woman, to play in the American women's team?
Yes, right now. Hell yeah, are you kidding me?
Transgender female athletes in women's sports. Only 18% of the country says that they should be, in fact, allowed to participate in women's sports.
Your argument is really bad out of your depth. Correct the trans women should be able to compete in women's sports, but your argument for it is just factually correct. I'm actually not bad about this. I'm 100% right on this. I don't give scientific explanations. If they identify as a woman, get to compete in sports. If that's not fair in the short term, for a variety of little competitions, I don't give.
And I mean, my goodness gracious.
Now, this is the one thing I agree with the Democrats on. Women have been begging men to play in their sports. I say let women voted for this. Let them. I don't believe you guys. You know what? I played volleyball in England, and I was at a tournament that allowed this. And do you know who was the first one championing for these women to stay in the tournament? Women. So yeah.
79%. You rarely get 79% of the country to agree on anything.
Because the societal interest of including trans people in society trumps stupid competition. Full stop. So I'm right about this. You're wrong about this.
You'd let Messi play in the women's national football team and destroy one referendum. You'd let you
it's difficult to get a ticket.
I want to do a little checklist here. You'd let Usain Bolt compete as a sprinter in the American women's Olympic team?
Yes.
You would let Floyd Mayweather compete as a boxer in the women's American boxing team.
Opposing them in women's sport. You get 67% of Democrats, so two-thirds there. You get 64% of independents, so you get about two-thirds there.
So I'm right about this. You're wrong about this.
Wow, she's a nut job. Holy shit. What an unpleasant cunt.
Okay, generally speaking, if you want...
all that does is just make me so thankful for the choices I've made in my life and the wishes not fulfilled. It's just, oh my goodness. Oh. Wow.
I want to say that you're right about something. Sure, everybody has their own opinions. It's their opinions. That's why they think that they're right. It's another thing to say that you speak for the left. As you just saw there, 67% of Democrats have a position that is actually to the right of. I say that trans girls should be allowed to play girls' sports in high school. 67% Democrats say no, not allowed in any women's sports. So I'll work on my Democratic brothers and sisters, and I'll try to get to my position on that. Nothing wrong with disagreeing. And if Emma, Francesca, and others can convince 79% of the nation that is...
No, dude, it's not believable. You're full of shit. You're one of the liberal left elitists that pulling the whole Democratic Party into no man's land. You are part of the problem. You are not part of the solution. That is abundantly obvious. And I've seen your fucking show, and you're a piece of shit. And even your blonde colleague in your show is a piece of shit. Except even she's moving away from your bullshit.
As opposed to that, come over to that side. Fantastic. Happy to have it. Okay?
See, this is just a line of shit that this dude's spewing. It's just a line of bullshit. It's sickening. It's sickening when you hear this kind of shit. The only thing this reptile gives a fuck about is the bottom line. The root of all evil. That's all. That's all. His ideas are bizarre and deranged, and he's getting them from a particular area. It's you know, has anybody ever noticed the cloning effect with the Democrats? Every week they come out with a new talking point, and I have literally seen people compile footage of all the different people, all these different politicians, all these different Democrats, all saying the exact same buzzwords. Every time it shifts, they shift that buzzword, that the three words, the combination of words, they shift it, and they all say the exact same thing. Like last week, it was in this moment. All these, they all in this moment, blah, 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 blah. And then the same talking points in this moment. They all said, I mean, literally 30 different people on the Democratic side. This dude, it's people like this that are involved with the legacy media. Everything this dude says is a lie, and everything that's coming through his network, his channel, is a lie. It doesn't really matter. All this is nonsense right here. This is nonsense. And this is just a problem. We're getting this nonsense so... It's a regular talking point. And it is a conspiracy. And they've proven that. You can't have 30 different people saying one particular strange phrase in that same week for no apparent reason. You know, this is the digital age. All it takes is an email. Right? Everybody's getting the text. What's the next, marching phrase? What's the next phrase for this? What's the word of the day? His legs help spread the word, you know? What's so complicated about that? Of course it's a conspiracy.
Okay. So I think where the issue comes in is when things get personal.
You wouldn't know the issue. You're a fat, deranged piece of shit. Again, part of the liberal elite media. And the problem is really, who are you in cahoots with? This is my only question. Because everything you're saying, all those talking points, you have to say. I don't believe for 1 minute you actually believe any of that shit. I believe you have to say that. And I think it comes back down to the root of all evil, money. You have to say it. And there are probably not just money, but you've also been compromised. You have to say it. And you've been a sinner. You've been a bad boy. And you've been compromised.
So we got three rules generally speaking on air here at TYT that are
meaningless.
Relatively bright. So one is, and I say relatively, I'll explain.
Blah, 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 blah. Right? Pearl, why are you watching this dude? Why are you giving him so much airtime? How can you stomach this dude?
You don't look smart. You look like a bitch. That's just the reality. I've tried to tell it to you nicely. I've tried to tell it to you cordially. I've tried to tell it to you on your show, on my show, on every show. And so either you A are a bitch, or B you actually agree with the right. And I'm starting to think, in fact, I do think it's the latter.
Okay. So
What an idiot. Oh my gosh. I can't believe she did that. Rush.
Yeah, pro. I don't know. Maybe you don't know enough about this dude.
She might have a
point.
I gotta
So
watch
Jake's
this.
line up to this point has been, no, it's the collegiate level and above. I think once you get to the college level and above, that's when it's bad. So he would be on board with what the NCAA said recently.
No, so a
No, so a lot of you
guys
guys feel about your ex-wives, huh? Yeah.
If you think we're collaborators and we've taken a heel turn and we're working with fascists, why did you choose to get implicated with us all these days? Look at news, no longer did. Believe it or not, she did not stop. This is now end of the show. Watch.
So Jake's line up to this point has been, no, it's the collegiate level and above. I think once you get to the college level and above, that's when it's bad. So he would be on board with what the NCAA said recently. But you're so dumb. You're so dumb. I don't even know.
I like this chick. Yeah, no, he's wrong on every count. There is no level when it's correct. There's no level when it's correct. And you don't leave it up to the NAACP. You don't leave it up to any of them. They all made the wrong choices. We've already had to intentionally have that overturned. It's been a problem all along. You don't leave it up to colleges. You don't leave it up to any of that. That's a cop-out. High schools, for that matter. No, obviously. Trans girl, if you're a man who wants to be a girl and you're a trans girl, you'd compete against the men then. You know, you have to make a choice. You're either moving with that gender, or you're moving with the ability to highly compete. If you want to be highly competitive, that's a masculine thing. Even among women's sports. Even among female athletes. That's why so many females are lesbians. Female athletes nowadays, so many female athletes are even higher a percentage of lesbians. I wouldn't be surprised if Pearl was a lesbian. I don't know, but that's what she strikes me as. I just know that she tends to be a heritage trader.
Explain it to you.
I know she's with guys, but that I don't know if that means much, other than that she's just I don't know. She probably just maybe a lesbian that just finds women sickening, and would rather pal around with guys.
Unless this is the other option. Unless you also are a transphobe. You know what I'm saying? Unless you also are kind of a misogynist.
Because if you disagree with Francesca or anyone on that,
he's like I wasn't a misogynist, but I might be now. Now he's like looking at the misogyny route. It's like,
bitch, that's just the reality. I've tried to tell it to you nicely. What did it get you? Nothing. You know why? Cause you look like a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder what her reaction. My guess is
she's funny now. I understand why she's watching her. She's a funny one.
When you go and share a stage with Dr. Phil, what did it get you? Nothing. You know why? Cause you look like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? You look like a bitch. That's what it is. Like that's just what it comes down to. You don't look like a fighter. You don't look smart. You look like a bitch. That's just the reality. I've tried to tell it to you nicely. I've tried to tell it to you cordially. I've tried to tell it to you on your show, on my show, on every show. And so
I tried to fart it a few times. You didn't catch the stink. You know, you just don't get it.
Either you A, are a bitch, or B, you actually agree with the right. And I'm starting to think, in fact, I do think it's the latter.
Okay. So
what an idiot. Oh my gosh. I can't believe she did that.
I don't know. I think that was funny. She's funny.
I
am speechless.
She's
Appalled.
funny. That was really good.
Okay, hold on.
Again, if
I don't
I
know.
told her that, that would have been a different situation, right? But look, guys, also on the policy or the strategy. When you go talk to the right wingers, first we did that, and I mean we did that, and there was.
Of course, you're not a right winger. You're a bitch left elitist. Rich white, some kind of white elitist.
A lot of blowback saying don't ever talk to the right wing. But they won the popular vote. How are we going to win back the voters if we never talk to them?
Yeah, but you already blew it with that. You blew it with even the Democrats. No, it's been funny to let men play in female sports. It's been funny. We all know that it's been funny. I agree with Pearl on that. It's been fun to watch. It's good for women to get humbled. But you know what's the sad thing is? A lot of the girls in high school sports, a lot of those are good girls. They want to stay clean. They want to avoid all the heritage traders. They want to live a clean, burning life. They don't want to get involved with smoking weed and drinking and smoking cigarettes. And that's what they do. That's why they want to be in sports. They'd rather live a clean, burning life. That's important. They're going to make good breeders. They're going to have beautiful children. They're more likely to be better people. And they're more likely to have better sex. Yeah. And hopefully they don't become lesbians. But you got to give them a shot. You got to give them something to play. And playing against men is not cool at all. Even high school boys can trounce women. You don't believe me? They had professional female soccer players playing a high school team. They got completely trounced. This has been done, tried and done, and it's been horrific. Nobody reports on it. Legacy media does not report on the brutal beatdowns that have gone down because they let men compete in women's sports. I just don't think it needs to continue. I think we all know. I think it should be honestly reported, which has not been happening. You know, it should be honestly reported. But nobody, not even independent media, really want to lose their audience. How much of their audience is women? They don't really want to just, bring up a fucking, an hour of 2 hours, 3 hours, 5. How many 12-hour binge watch of reels of women getting completely fucking trounced? This experiment is a horrific experiment. And it does a disservice to the girls that just want to live a clean, burning fucking life. They just want to be athletic. They want to stay in shape. Maybe they just want to be as pretty and healthy as possible to make a good woman one day for a man. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want that. Maybe they want that jock boyfriend. Maybe they want this or that. At the end of the day, they're more likely to grow up to be better, more balanced people if they have some sport that they play in. I mean, I certainly don't see an issue with that. And I certainly don't think that the idea of letting men compete in women's sports of course it's wrong. It's absurd to give a fringe 2% of the population any kind of power like that. No, they play in their own sports. And be glad you have the opportunity to play in your own sport. So if you're a boy, you want to be a girl, okay. If you want to compete also, well then be the best damn boy, girl, competing against boys you can be. That's what you better do. That's what you better do. Or else don't try to compete. I mean, if it's more, which is more important to you? You want to be a girl? You want to go the gender way? Well, what you really want to be there is you want to be a bottom. You want to be a slut. You want to fuck. You want to suck, right? You want to be a sissy. You want to do all these nasty things. You don't really want to play sports. You want to do the sex, which is perfectly fine. Be an athletic sex performer or whatever you want to be. Make sex your physical challenge. But don't force yourself on women's sports. That's all I have to say about it. Make yourself available to all the guys. That's what you want. That's really, really what you want. If you want to be a girl, there's a reason you want to be a girl. You want to be submissive. You want to be railed for hours at a time. You want to feel all that. That's what you want. You don't really want to play in sports. Don't play games. Right? Even Leah Thomas would have trounced the women a lot worse, but they got to him. They said, you know, we need you to back off. It's becoming too obvious and brutal. That's all. So he just chilled out. He stopped beating him as bad as he could. Because he was about to get dead. That's the problem. You know, he's just a he. Just the fucking guy. Competing against the men. Leah Thomas was a reasonably strong competitor amongst swimmers. And why not? He was tall, slim, built like a swimmer. Just swim against the men. Maybe you'll never be first place. But it's fake first when you're competing against women. It's like I had somebody drop into a chat. And they were like, they thought Ke1Lan3's got best thing since sliced bread. I said, she's okay, but she's only okay against, you know, a bunch of dullards and slobs. You know, women's sports, the women's teams are horrific. I mean, it's like people are just like, I don't know what the word would be, lumbering their way up and down the court. Fat, sloppy-looking people lumbering themselves up and down the court. Now, I mean, I just got used to male pro teams. That's all. If I watch basketball, it's just the male pro team. You know, that's all I'll look at. I'll look at, like, you know, the Chicago Bulls were my thing back in the day when they're in their heyday. You know, so I have high standards. I mean, that's what looks like basketball to me. You know, even men playing on the basketball court. You know, you're gonna see some shit. Yeah, I don't see that shit with women. Not even a little bit. And Ke1Lan3, she can throw a 3-pointer, but she can't pull. She won't get the shot off against men. That's the problem. You'd think she could get the shot off against men, but she cannot get the shot off against men. It won't matter. She'll be stuffed so hard it'll be a brutality. Every event will be a brutality.
If we don't win him back, we can't ever win an election. And that doesn't mean the far end of together on that. So
yeah, you're not a believable person. You seem like a sleazebag to me. I mean, look at you. You look at your face, your eyes. You know, if anything really mattered to you, you would think about adjusting your diet. I mean, it always comes back down to that to me. The people that really give a fuck about what's happening in the world and what's going on, they care about what they put in their body and how they live. You know, they're not just a talking head. Everything is intertwined. The whole body is an instrument to affect change. Everything they do, the way they grip something or don't grip something, the gesture of the hand. I'm a little mystified by this. And I think that woman was right on. I usually don't agree with women. And she's not necessarily on the same political spectrum as I am. But in that case, I don't see any reason to give this fucking cunt that much time. Jeez, let's move on.
Scarber's one of the largest ones in the whole chart.
But oh, there's another more cunt to speak.
This is
Pearl, how did you just give that dude so much time? Like, what are you doing? Jeez, why fill time like that? You put on a bouncing ball on the screen. It would be more fun.
She's gotta stop this. This is gonna.
I know all the comment section is gonna simp, but this is gonna come really out of touch. Okay, let me myself.
Left the Daily Wire.
Adult friendships are really hard.
When you left, your maid of honor.
What does this next chapter look like?
Do you want to say anything to her? What was the fun?
Oh no, leave the comment section alone. Don't simp. I'm tired of this. She's a normie conservative, but guys, she's still a woman. And we have the same tactics. She's doing woman stuff right now. Not all women.
Final straw.
I
mean,
There
almost
wasn't
nobody would give that up.
Yeah.
And start from scratch. And that's why I respect you so much.
Mm-hmm. No, it was
Okay, so
lose everything and
lose
start
everything
from
and start from scratch.
Because again, we had
Alex just started his own business.
you were not
starting from scratch.
When you launched your new show.
She's hot though. I like her. She's pretty.
But I would be
I would be
just as happy if I was
because people are catching position and they hire your
Yeah, but Pearl, I mean, you got from choice of shit, a turd, vomit on the floor, right? And a rubber ball that you can play with occasionally. Right? I mean, what are the choices there? So I don't see any reason to be down on her. She's just a woman, like you said, that's all. I don't really get your gist. I don't know where you're going with this whole...
You know how this movie ends. Well, I guess she'll just be the next one to red pill people. Feel free to super chat. I don't work for free except for the lab.
I just like that
I can't comprehend that.
Well, you just did it, right? Like you just did it.
And so I think
this is how women think. They want the internet to hold them accountable to things instead of just doing them on their own.
It was really good.
I spent months thinking of like,
what is the best way?
What does this next chapter
look like?
And
there was a lot that
I wanted to consider in terms of,
you know, Alex is in
my life, and
I do want
to be a mom. That's something that I've dreamt about for
my entire
childhood and
life
and now. And
how can I build
a life
and a career where I get to do what I love, but I get to be the kind of mother that I want to be, and have the kind of balance that I hope to have again. It didn't.
I don't know what she's talking about. It's already happening.
Again, this is why I say traditionalism is dead. Because again, she's not gonna put it away. Totally fine. I don't even think that she should or that. Like,
she could do both. Why not? Doesn't mean she can't be home a lot. I mean, her career. Why wouldn't she be able to do a lot of things right out of her own home studio? She's got the fame already. She will have the money. She can hire a nanny to help out and do a lot of the menial shit. I don't know. I don't see what's the big deal.
I'm not saying she should, but I'm saying she won't. So it's not what she's selling, right?
No, I don't see any reason why she'd have any trouble doing any of that.
This video is
very cool.
Awesome. I guess that was made with AI. It's really cool. Some of the stuff that they can make with AI. Actually, quite a few in this video. Welcome to Monday on a Tuesday because obviously yesterday. So this woman is in the wrong career. Like she was born to be a politician.
Why do the clean dishes still have food on? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. Clean dishes have always been important to me ever since I became a wife and a mother. I remember when I was in college, I understood peace in the home ended on order.
of the kitchen.
But let me be clear.
The dishes
have been a problem in this house since before I became a mother. Matter of fact, it was my husband, you,
who, when we started dating in 2015, initiated we don't need to rinse the dishes before they go to the dishwasher. Let me finish.
I can't believe it. Ridiculous.
Let me finish.
It is my husband who routinely oversteps the dishwasher.
She's too good at that. That's like concerning. How is she like so disturbingly natural at politicianing?
Do you expect the Fed to listen to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was classic.
I'm the president.
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah.
Most of the memes that have been going around this week are to do with the meetups that Trump had with the EU leaders, and they are hilarious.
Yeah.
I've tried so many times to figure out like who was pushing who away, who was like pulling who. I cannot figure it out. I don't know who was what. There have been so many of these. This is a good one. Trump and JD Vance negotiating with Zelensky.
I come strong and you come in. You listen to me, you piece of shit. It's just you and me, and I'm gonna rip you apart. What's up, Cartel? I'll talk to you. You're reasonable.
Not even that much of an exaggeration.
That was yours. We thought that baggie belonged to Hunter. I think the Secret Service probably still has some.
I have been stealing the money.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I must speak honestly. I steal many USA dollars to Ukraine. Millions. Some dollars for some oligarchs, also some for American bureaucrats.
Well, but why are you telling me this?
Because if you and war, we cannot steal any more money. We must continue war.
No, the war must end. People are dying. Zelensky. They're dying.
But I want to steal more money. What do you want?
Do you remember that movie where no one was able to lie? This is what this would be like. If all politicians couldn't lie, the world would just like implode if that ever happened. I'd love to see it, but imagine.
You're allowed to be in a position to be right from the very beginning of the war. Not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now.
These ones have been
You're right now not in a position. You're allowed to be in a position.
The guy in the corner smiling.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country.
People are such rascals making stuff like this. So cruel. Oh, this little baby's back.
No.
That is one disturbing baby face. And then, of course, we got to see Putin's perspective on all of this. We got to see a bit behind the scenes.
Right there, people are dying. You're running slow and so you're running slow and soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. Then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I want this. If you could get a ceasefire right now.
Oh my god. People just feeling very creative over this topic this week. You must share this one, the reality of war, which is just true. It's not even funny, it's just true. Oh yeah, and I did say a couple of dad jokes for the end this week, and a couple of just like positive non-political videos as well. So yeah, there's a thing.
Yeah, everything's nice and low. I'm gonna ladder into some things. Thing about it is, I think it's going to keep dropping. And then when the tariffs hit, I think we're going to see more drop. And then some numbers are released regarding the macroeconomic environment. I think they're not going to be the best. Put it all together, I think we're going to see a stark drop next 3 days or so. So I'm gonna put in some low bids tonight is what I'm gonna do. But it's gonna, and I've been getting lucky on this. I've been placing bids well under, like I've been seeing numbers like this, and then I'll place a bid well under that. You know, instead of 126, like I think last night 122 or 121 or something. I think it was 124 at the time. And it's a little difference. It's not a huge difference. When I get a sense I see a number on the lower end where I really want to buy a lot, I'm going to buy a lot. Yeah, I mean, enough so that I can keep. My thing is I tend to forget. And like the whole bear season, I forgot to accumulate more Bitcoin. I just forgot, and Bitcoin and other things, I just forgot to add more. I just put it all aside and never thought about it. That wasn't the best, in all fairness. I mean, I did fine because everything appreciated for the most part. And some things in particular shot up drastically, but yeah, if I had been adding my position, it would be better because the prices then were like in the 40s, 30s, 50s for Bitcoin. Lower for some others. During that whole bear, last few years have been really. So this is not necessarily the best time. So I know what it is, but if I didn't feel really confident that because of like global liquidity and some other factors, things are going to really pick up towards June, May, June, late April, last 2 weeks of April should be good. There may be some delays because of the tariffs and things like that, but I think regardless of all that, it'll pick up. So I'm gonna look at all this. Have I bought anything? See, I always have to look at this and go, have I bought? Like all these things I ended up buying. I wasn't paying any attention to them, like Sol. I just bought 4 Sol at 122, and that was like I didn't even notice. I just set the bid and then I didn't pay any attention to it, and then they all came down. Bought some of this, bought some of that. I forgot about a few of these bids. I placed them days ago. Both of these, I totally forgot about. One thing I can say for sure is that because I'm not that interested in either. Like it's not like a main focus, but it's good to have because Ondo's an RWA play. It's real world assets. That's a huge thing now. It's getting really, really big. So this is one of the ones that's going to be a player. Link, of course, I've been picking up Link. Yeah, so my technique here is I want to keep it easy. I don't want to have to take notes about everything I buy. I'm going to buy a ton of stuff this next week. So I just take screenshots now, and I'll keep them all in a folder. All my screenshots. And I can peek back through my screenshots. I'll just keep them organized so they'll all be from like, March, April, May, that kind of thing, 2025. It'll just be March, April. Because that's when I'm going to accumulate. The rest, then I'm going to shift to more of a day trading approach for a while. I'm going to take a certain percentage. This is like my longer term play platform here, mainly because I can leave things on it and I feel comfortable with this platform. And then I'll move some of the things that I intend to keep a long time to my wallet. You know, the big stuff, Bitcoin, Solana, a lot of stuff I intend to keep. Some of this I'll move back. I don't need any of that on there. Litecoin I keep because it's just easy for me to transfer to buy. I use Litecoin to buy my testosterone and my Masteron. So I'm gonna snipe some deals. I want to look at these deals. I'm gonna look at what a good entry point is. What I do is if the market's not looking good to me now, what I do is I just estimate where would it be showing me a buy signal. You know, and that's where I estimate. And I look at certain indicators. Like I'll give an example. I'll just grab one. I look at certain indicators just to get a sense of, you know, what is the momentum. Like right here. This is a day chart. Let's look at that. So that's Sol. And well, let's talk about sideways right there. Sideways. Holy crap. But like I picked it up. You see how it dropped down? What I did is I wanted to pick some up, but I didn't want to go too low. I have a ton of bids. So if it wicks down, and it could do that at any minute, is the thing. Any minute. It could just wick down. It's going to collapse. It's all going to drop down. And I'll probably be able to, this is why I'm laddering in. And on that note, the larger amounts that I buy will be a little farther down. It's just that I don't really care because I want to pick up a lot. Because you know why? That's the one thing that I didn't rebuy after the big crash. I did. I bought like 1/4 of what I had. I had over 120 Sol, and it all got seized on the Celsius platform when they went bankrupt. I never got that back. Total loss. So when everything crashed, I bought everything at like 1/4 of the price. It was like 1/4 of the price. Some of that's just Bitcoin. It was like 1/4 of the price. Some of the altcoins were less than that. So I ended up, spending, not that much to get everything back, but I didn't buy everything back. The one thing that my one mistake, and I just lost track. I just had lost track, and I don't think because looking at the price, it would have been to my advantage, and I since I spent so much to get back into the market deep and get everything back, I probably would have gotten sold back, but and it would have saved me a ton to do it then. Obviously, I'd have been so far ahead right now; it'd be crazy. I didn't though, so now's as good a time as any. I think Sol's got a real bright future. I wouldn't be surprised if Sol hits 10K at some point. But even still, it doesn't have to be anything like that. So if 200 becomes the norm and then it's hitting 400 occasionally, I mean that's nice to me because it's a long-term hold for me. And then it's gonna get then it's gonna go slowly but surely. It'll go up and up and up, be over 1,000 at some point. And Sui right now is a really good play. I mean, when you look at it, look a couple years out ahead. It's similar to a Sol in a sense that I think it'll be worth over 100, and right now it's just a couple bucks. So I mean, one thing is like a good technology like a Sui. It's proven, Aptos, well backed, and it hasn't been through the melee yet, so a lot of the coins that have been through the melee, I'm reinvesting in a little bit. DOT, AVAX, Matic even. I think Matic's getting picked up and used for some big things. You don't hear about it. Pol's another one. Pol. I think that's Matic. Pol. I think it's the same now. So I'm just putting a little back. I already have somewhere I have it tucked away in some wallet. But Sol's the one I want to buy, and it'll cost a lot. for me to pick up the amount I had. So I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but I want to get. I think I'm already back. Yeah. I'd like to pick up maybe. I don't know. It'll be a lot. The thing about it is I feel good about it. I feel like anything I put into Sol, there'll be a point where it will at least double. So easy math, you know. Bitcoin, that's always a good move. It's like a save. Think about it, Bitcoin, it's just like putting your money into a very good earning CD. But the maturation of the CD is like 2 years, 3 years. Like it could be, if it's a long bear market, which I don't think we're going to see in the same way anymore. I think we don't really see that with stock markets. We don't see 2-year bear markets. We don't really see that, and it doesn't impact things in the same way. I think we're going to see more correlation with the stock market. So I don't think bear markets are going to be as long and painful anyway. And I think Bitcoin just has so much upside. It's insane. It's with all the adoption, that whether it's a useful thing or not, I won't even comment. Whether it were even possibly a Ponzi, well, you could say the American dollar is a Ponzi. Once they took it off the gold standard, it doesn't have a peg anymore. I mean, obviously it's the United States military that enforces any value to the dollar. That's what's so frightening. That's why it's so important that a lot of people who don't understand how things work don't get that. It's the military. It's the ability to project power. It's the technology also. The intelligence community. It's a lot of things like that contribute to the fact that there's a dollar that's the global currency standard. And the rug pull, it happens regularly. The Democrats were doing that, just exactly that. They'll give you $1,000 to every citizen, and then what they'll do is they'll print all that money and then more, and then everything slowly starts to cost everybody more because the dollar has been debased. It's devalued. It's worth literally less than it was worth before. It's not pegged to, a certain amount of money is not pegged to a dollar, to an ounce of gold, pure gold, right? It's not like that. Bitcoin is a better, if among Ponzi's, Bitcoin's a better Ponzi because it has no government that needs to engage in a war to keep it moving. That's why governments kind of like it. They like it because it's like a juggernaut that just survives all the cold winters. It's a juggernaut. You can't shut down enough of the machines for this thing not to keep going. It'll keep going. People have tried to hack it. People have tried to shut it down. They can't shut it down. There's too many nodes, too many miners, too many machines mining Bitcoin. Too much adoption. Too much Bitcoin already out there that's being held in wallets. It holds its value, and then so it produces returns. So governments look at that and go, it's becoming increasingly scarce. The value to mine it is being halved I think it's every 4 years. That's why they call it the 4-year cycle. But anyway, let me play this.
Theory that Zelensky has the cocaine habit.
Single largest donor of military equipment to Ukraine, and we said that we would match or exceed that amount, almost 2.5 conversations, which is why we provided, but also there's long range.
Anything good.
Oh god. I mean, maybe he just has a really bad cold. A lot. Like all the time. This guy Zelensky has the world's most expensive cocaine habit.
If you can't give us some financial support, okay, please, give us a credit, and we will give you back.
Once you see it that way, the interviews with him just hit differently. This one's so good. Everyone at Fort Knox right now. If they get into Fort Knox, they better look closely, double check. This woman is hilarious. She voted for Democrats her whole life.
I voted for Democrats my whole life. They never did anything they promised. They would come to the black church and sing some Negro spirituals with us, and they disappear. Once they got our vote, they never did anything they promised. I vote for a Republican once in my life, and this dude did everything he promised. On steroids. He ain't even been in office 2 months. And everything I voted for, I'm getting. It's amazing. Do he sleep? Like this dude, if he sleeps, he wake up on a mission to do what he voted for. He said, Nikhil want me to fix that border, I'm on it. Nikhil want to make sure the tax dollars is being spent for Americans more than anybody else, I'm on it. This dude wakes up. I feel like with me and mom, you know what I'm saying? I feel like thinking about me. It's like being at the casino. You put in that Democrat coin, you put it in, and you pull the thing, and you gonna win. You put in another Democrat coin, and you pull the thing, and no, you didn't win. You put in that Republican coin. I put in a Republican coin for the first time. Pull the I freaking won. Wow. So you know what that tells me? That tells me to never vote for Democrats again in life. Ever. Because you're not gonna win with them. I voted for a Republican once. And hit the jackpot. I will continue to do that again.
This is why the Democrats were so scared because so many people are waking up and they're happy. They're excited. This is the thing. It's a really exciting time. Let's see this when it's finally released. Perhaps. Let's hold out hope, guys. Okay, so the DOJ comes out and says the Epstein files are going to be released today. Quite literally. Okay, so I love real life is hilarious. Where you don't even have to make up a meme. And this is one of those situations. A sense of betrayal. Liberal dismay as Muslim-led US cities as pride flags. Many liberals celebrated when Trump, Michigan, elected a Muslim majority council in 2015, but a vote to exclude LGBTQ plus flags from city property has soured relations. And now liberals feel a sense of betrayal. Who could have predicted that?
I have gender skin color dysphoria. I am a white lesbian trapped in a black man's body. I'm 6 months pregnant and I love my husband. But the LGBTQ community won't accept me. And they tell you you can be what you want to be. And also, since I'm a white lesbian, I'm also a white supremacist and I hate black people.
You go, girl. Oh, Bernie said, how many yachts do billionaires need? How many cars do they need? Give us a break. You can't have it all. Lifestyles of the rich and socialists. Bernie Sanders has 3 houses, makes millions. Oh, Bernie. Years ago, Bernie Sanders used to complain about millionaires until he became one, and then he started complaining about billionaires. Yeah, that's funny. Meanwhile, federal workers, I am the victim of a hate crime. Asking what you do at work isn't a hate crime. Well, I hate it. I say this all the time. If we want wars to stop, just something like this would be brilliant.
Same for politicians. If they want to start a war, they should be expected to go to the front line.
We'll never have
war again.
Donate to
charity.
Puts the glasses
on. Our CEO wants a bigger yacht.
The glasses
of truth.
That's a good
direction for AI. You could have like AI glasses that
AI
no bullshit glasses.
So this person showed this video of Keir Starmer, which he was flying, and I'm loving this. They said I'd like to report Keir Starmer for a breach of the Online Safety Act. He has spread disinformation, lies online, likely to cause psychological trauma to elderly pensioners. He deserves 3 years. And this is what people need to do. We just need to take the ridiculous rules that people make and just flip them on them. This woman shared a video talking about that the military shouldn't get discounts, and she got owned.
I don't like that we give our military guys 10% discount.
I don't care. As someone who donated a little more than 10% to your ability to stop nonsense on the internet. If someone offers me a 10% discount on something, especially a large bill, I'm going to take it. And you can kick rock.
There you have it. This is so brilliant. Somebody made a Star Wars Elon Musk video.
This is what victory feels like. Yeah. This was important seminar. This one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Yes, I would watch that movie. I would queue up. I'd pay premium price for those tickets. I want to.
I know Elon should be the Star Wars.
The whole thing is ready to clap.
He just seems like a good character.
Ukraine, Russia, NGOs, USAID, almost there. See, it's all ready to topple. Okay, so I'm just gonna look at some of the ones that you guys tagged me in. This one is a classic. This is what I voted for. Trump going in like a bull in a trench. Literally, when Trump haters are like complaining, he's tearing apart the government agencies. No one voted for this. It's like literally, yes, they did. This is exactly what people voted for. My dad sent me this one. This would never have happened if I was president. Forgot his toiletry bag before going to Epstein. I mean, hopefully soon we will actually know. Okay, so it's time for good news memes. This one is so sweet. Someone keeps placing cute little Jesus statues around the Capitol building. Look how cute that is. So it's a mystery. More of these little Jesus statues are popping up all over the place, and they don't know who does it. But someone is sneaking them.
It doesn't look like Jesus to me.
This beautiful stag also appeared inside a church during prayers. It's just beautiful. This comment says in Scripture, the stag is used as a symbol of grace and vitality, representing strength and renewal. It appears in poetic context. The stag is also associated with spiritual themes of overcoming evil. So this is a little bit of a kind of Clinton dad joke. So here we have Clinton's thing, and then I told them my wife lives in a gated community. So a little bit of a dad joke. It's something that might be true at some point in the near future. You never know. And then this week I found a literal dad joke. The dad lays next to any bulls that get hit into their yard.
Wait for it, and then run out.
That is serious commitment. Just picturing him waiting at the window for a bull to come over. So for me, that one dad joke of the week. And here's a sheep. Brighten your day. It's adorable. So that's everything. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to tag me if you see any good memes. I see you guys next time.
I'm the only one who...
Hey everyone, welcome back to Men Need to Be Heard. Channel dedicated to raising awareness on the issues that recently I had a younger follower reach out to me, ask if I would do a video and share some tips that I think could help men, especially younger ones like him, to live a better life. Honestly, I thought it was a pretty profound request, especially as that is one of the main goals of my channel. So I really took the time to think about it, and I wanted to be able to give the best advice I possibly could. And the way I went about it was to look back at my life and think about various things and how they affected me. I thought about my successes and my failures. I thought about the things I did or didn't do, as well as things I should have done or shouldn't have done. My goal was to be able to come up with a good list of things to help men succeed in life. And yes, things to help them avoid making some of the very same mistakes that I've made over the years as well. And I want to preface this by saying that this is not a be-all, end-all list, and for some, many of these things might not apply. On the other hand, for some of you, all of them might. And one final note is, I'm going to be very real with you. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not necessarily what you want to hear. So if you're one of those that can't handle hearing truth, then I suggest you just scroll on to the next video. Why am I saying that? Because as men, you need to learn that life ain't handing us any participation. The way you carry yourself determines whether you're going to thrive or just survive. And you and only you are in control of how you carry yourself. All right, having said all that, let's keep that in mind and dive in. First off is that we as men need to accept the reality that weak men seek pleasure, strong men seek purpose. Have you ever noticed how some guys are always chasing the next distraction? Whether it's women, junk food, or endless entertainment like video games, they're just consuming. They're never building. These are the types that just live life as it is, never really get anywhere. They don't take risks, won't make any effort, won't put in any work. What they will do though is make excuses. Lots and lots of excuses. Strong men, on the other hand, are always building, always looking to improve, always moving forward. Are they going to face setbacks? Damn straight they are. But instead of letting those setbacks define them, they look for ways to overcome them. Strong men don't waste time. They create, they contribute, and they make an impact. Look, my friend. Nothing good comes from sitting around doing nothing. Nothing good comes from wishing for it. If you want to feel valuable, if you want to achieve, if you want to be the best man you can be, it starts by getting your ass up off the couch and going doing something about it. All right, next up, your time and energy are valuable. There are a lot of what I call soul-sucking energy monsters out there. These are the people who latch on and try and suck you into their misery because, as we all know, misery loves company. These people don't care about you. They only care about themselves. So listen up, gentlemen. Not everyone deserves your attention. Most especially these soul-sucking monsters. Stop giving your time to lazy, entitled people who bring nothing to the table, who give you nothing in return. If someone doesn't respect you and your time, stop giving it to them. Let them wallow while you succeed. And speaking of success, let's move on to number three, which I'm calling people hate those who do succeed. These are the people who put down or make fun of those who achieve success. They'll mock you for anything and everything you did to achieve it and the success itself. Most of them are doing it out of jealousy. And because you've done what they can't and won't do, which is put in the work and put in the effort. They dislike you because you epitomize why they are successful. Let them talk. Their opinion doesn't matter. Not in the least. Don't let their failures mar your success. Moving on to number 4, I'm going to give a tip that many men struggle to understand, which is that women can smell weakness a mile away. I call it simping, ain't pimping. Or to put it another way, while you may think catering to hurt every woman, worshiping at her feet is the way to go, it rarely ever works. Sorry guys, but what your mother's told you to do to win women over just reeks of desperation. If you're chasing, begging, and constantly seeking her approval, my friends, you've already lost. Oh, sure, for a bit, she may lap up that attention, may let you spend your hard-earned money, but actually want to be with you for the long term, not a chance. Have self-respect. Be the kind of man who leads. If a woman is worth it, trust me, she'll follow. Number 5 is a mixed bag. I often talk on this channel how we as men need to build relationships with other men. How we need to be and have a support system around us, and that's absolutely true. But it's also a two-sided coin because while yes, support is good, too often it turns into dependency. And that, my friends, is not so good. Your friends have their own battles to fight. And while we want to be there to help them and for them to help us, we can't expect that they'll take on everything for us. Nor should you for them. The reality is every man you know is fighting a war you don't see. You, me, all of us. We can't expect other men to carry our load as well as their own, and vice versa. We can't expect others to sacrifice themselves by always coming through for us, nor should we for them. That doesn't mean we don't help each other. That doesn't mean that we don't care. We want to be the kind of friend who supports, not one who takes or gives. All right, let's jump into some relationship ones, starting with number 6, which is don't ever negotiate desire. If you have to convince a woman to want you, to respect you, to choose you, you've already lost. Know your worth and act accordingly. That doesn't mean you do need to be a man. She values, not just tolerate. A woman who truly values you will make it obvious. Put in the work and put in the effort. Along those lines, I'll add, she's not afraid of losing you, and I hate to break it to you, but you've already lost her. Trust me when I say this, my friend. She's not putting in the effort every single day. She's either looking for or has no replacement. Don't let that happen. Number 7 is along the same lines, which is you need to stop putting women on a pedestal. Treat them well, sure. Treat them with the same respect you expect from them. Absolutely. But don't revolve your entire world around them. Don't sacrifice your soul, your money, your self-respect, your very being for them. Something sadly far too many men do. Men hear me and hear me clear. We matter every bit as much as they do. In a true relationship, one worthy of having, neither party is above the other. Trust me when I say this. The minute you put her on a pedestal, start looking down on you. She'll start losing respect for you.
None of them are worthy of having. I have no idea why he keeps rotating around women.
And when that happens, you've lost her. You've lost the relationship.
There's no what relationship is worth having with a woman? That I don't get. Any woman that you could have a good relationship with that's not destructive is a woman you don't even want. It's a daily compromise where you have to get used to looking at something that's very unpleasant to look at. I mean, that just makes you not want to be alive. That's what that means. You know, that is what that does. It is brutal. That immediately breaks your spirit. So, even if in every other way, our relationship was good, it was supportive, everything like that. Unless you're in the top 5%, that bitch is probably homely as fuck. And you are stuck. You are stuck. And you're very likely to be caught out with kids and debt that you never even imagined happening. But even if you're smarter, like somebody like myself, I still look at all the years I spent with these half-ass women. Very homely, very unattractive, total compromise. And if I didn't have the financial prosperity from one of them, if I didn't have any of that left over, the fact that I'd saved money during that time, made money and saved money, then it would just be nothing but regret. Nothing but regret. I kept busy, I kept saving, I moved on. Otherwise, I cannot for the life of me figure why there would be it's not a woman then. There's no. I guess my basic point is I would have been much better off just allying with a guy. It would have been much better situation to find a guy that I'm interested in. Just as a good person to help me with my business, the whole thing, live with, save money. Everything would have been an even stronger situation. Because with a woman, it's inevitable you're going to have to leave. You have to end it. It's going to end. With a man, you don't even mind if it ends. With a man, you have a replacement. Once you get adjusted to men, you always have the next man you can replace that man with. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could fill my house with guys that could help me with a lot of things. I just don't have any real need right now for that. But I guess on that note, of all the relationships I could have, why would I bother with anything with a woman? They don't make good friends. Like, what would be the relationship? It's not worth fucking women. I'd rather fuck dudes. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't get any of that. I mean, it's not going to be an attractive enough looking woman for me to be excited about being with. It's going to be some fucking god awful. Ugh. I mean, that's what I'm doomed to get at this point. That's what you're doomed to get. And I think you should be honest about it. That's what you're doomed to get. And I don't know why you would want that. Like, I mean, you could be a daddy and fuck a cute little college femboy. Right? Or you could fuck a beast, like a cow, a sow. And that's what society expects you to be doing. Whining and dining a pig that doesn't need even an ounce more food for a month. Right? Just so everyone around you feels like all is right with the world.
A true king doesn't beg for love, respect, or loyalty. He earns it.
Yeah, but a true king doesn't revolve around women or talk about women all the time. On that note,
through strength and purpose, he commands through his actions and through his presence. A man who has to beg for attention, love, or respect is already.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're the one talking about men's shelters and shit like that. Isn't that right up the same alley? Like, it's up the same alley. Like, you got your own blind spots. You got to think about it a little bit. I mean, it's the same thing. So if a man gets beat up and abused by a girl, and he's afraid to leave because he has no money, and he doesn't go, so he's got to beg for anybody to pay any attention to him. I need help. I need this. That's begging. That's what a man. You're saying that's what a man should do. You should. Right? Of course, don't smack the shit out of the bitch. Right? Don't do that. because you should never hit a woman, even if they're evil, heinous bitches. Right? You should never do that. Even though you would have a place to stay if you did that. Right? You'd always have a place to stay. You're going to go straight to prison. But you'll have a place to stay. You won't need to cry out and ask for help. Which is what you're saying not to do. Even you, who would say people should have abuse shelters for men. Well, how would a man ever find his way into an abuse shelter? We're not raised that way. We're not raised that way. I mean, the only people you'd get in that shelter would be gay kids. Which is fine. You might like that, but
losing. On to number 8, which is also something else that many men fail to do, which is make themselves a priority. Especially with things like their health. As I just said, you matter a lot, and as such, you need to make yourself the first priority. Your mental, physical, and emotional health is every bit as important as anyone else's. Go get that physical every day. Hit the gym, eat right. Do the things that make you happy. Do all of them. And do them well. Most of all, do them not for them, but for you. I'm a big believer that confidence follows discipline starts. How you carry yourself, and how you take care of yourself. Number 9 is to remember that life is relentless, and at times it can be ruthless and unforgiving. That's a given. That's something we all have to deal with at one time or another. Yes, we still need to keep moving forward. Do so with caution and self-control. It's okay to take risks. But do so knowing what those risks are.
I'm surprised this dude, all the advice he's giving, and the one advice that's the most important advice, is think in terms of investments. What's your 1-year plan? What's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? What investments can you make today that will be fruitful in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years? And how would those investments change your life? Because everything you're saying is just putting it back on men. Because everything this dude just said just puts it back on men. But there is no strategy. There's no end game. So whether I'm going to bother to fuck women or guys, I'm more interested in what can I do now? What can I do now that will plant the seed? That I'll be able to pull the trigger on that investment that's life-changing. Right? Well, you can think smaller, and you can think, how much do I need to have in a trading account? To do this and that. And then you can say, well, how can I make moves that'll give me 20% here, 20% there, 20% here, and that's fine. Scalp. You can make a day-to-day scalping. But longer term, you want to save for the big crash. When everybody's terrified and nobody has any funds, and you just see, what is this thing that you want? And then you make that hard move. You make the hard move. So women will be women. And so like my ex just kicked me out. Decided it was time. And that's okay. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have bought my first house in a beautiful state with beautiful weather. It's just absolutely wonderful. Just talking to family from where I came from. And I know that they live in this dismal world. They can't even imagine the life I live. They can't even fathom, so I don't say anything about anything. I'm feeling good, doing well, studying economics. So I just think this dude, of all the advice he should have given, really, I'd say, be like Alexander the Great. All right? Alexander the Great found women attractive, just like we all do. Even women find women attractive. But Alexander the Great was out conquering the world, bringing Grecian civilization, the Macedonian king, bringing Western values and culture throughout the world, spreading some of the greatest culture that ever was at that time throughout the world. Right? That's what Alexander the Great was doing. It was light against darkness. He was a philosopher. He was well schooled. He was highly educated. It was light against darkness as far as he was concerned. But along the way, he fucked countless dudes. I mean, he's at war years at a time. So he would come into cities. He would overtake a city. He would have the dancing girls, and he would play with girls. But most of the time, he didn't have that luxury, and he fucked the pretty femboys in his army. You know, he did not rotate his life around any of that, but it was certainly something he made sure to do, and I agree with that also. He certainly didn't rotate around women. That was something known. He was known to be bisexual. Top, bottom, I'm probably both. Probably both. This dude's obviously straight, right? I mean, that's the vibe I get, or else he would stay slimmer. He would do what it takes to slim out. Anyway, I like this dude. I think he's right on track with a lot of things, and nothing was wrong with what he said. It's just that he didn't give the actual trick. The trick for a man is to give the man an idea, a powerful idea that's worth having. And the idea really is to always think in terms of investing. Always think in terms of investing. Say, is there any way you can accumulate $1,000 within 3 months? And if you have $1,000, let's write a list of 30 things that might be a good investment with that $1,000. Now, it might not be crypto or something like that. It might not, but it might be take 200 of it, investing in a crypto scalping course. Don't need to do that. You can find all the information you need online. But I would do something like that. I'd start allocating time, because right off the bat, that's something that a person can do after work, so they can keep their main job and they can do that after work. I think it's much more important to just give a man a task instead of telling him all this shit, which just puts it back on the dude. Like the dude did anything wrong. The dude was dispirited by society. The dude didn't do anything wrong. Just give him a task, and if there's any spirit left, dude will start to consider the task and do the task. That's all. This video is for shit, really. Let's check this one out.
Here are the things I think are the bare minimum.
Good lord. Not the bare minimum. Or as I like to put it, the narcissistic, completely delusional expectations of men that today's modern women have. All about.
By the way, this dude is a good channel all in all. Men need to be heard. He's good. I like Pearl also. Pearl, you just type it in YouTube. Just Pearly Things, I think it was the name.
While offering literally nothing in return. All right. Let's hear them.
I think are the bare minimum.
Good lord. Not the bare minimum. Or as I like to put it, the narcissistic, completely delusional expectations of men that today's modern women have. All while offering literally nothing in return. All right.
I like this dude. This is his wheelhouse right here. This is his wheelhouse. He will go to town on the uselessness of modern women. I mean, he will go to town. Pearl does, but this dude does. I'll give him a lot of credit on that. And it's sad necessity for men to hear this. It's hard. Honestly, most men tend to be romantics. We tend to be romantical. We tend to want to write love letters. We want to write love songs, right? We fall in love with bitches. So this is looking. This is trailing bearish, in my opinion. The momentum's slightly up. It's holding a little bit. Doesn't mean anything. This is really a... It's all gonna tank, to be fair. It's gonna tank. How low is the question? So I have a lot of bids on Sol. I lose track of what they are. What are my bids at? Let's see. I have real low. These are called stink bids. This is when the floor, so this is pretty close to where we're at. And it's a tiny little bid. 121, huh? It's a ways. I think we'll get there though. And then if it hits 119, it's going to be 5. 110, I only have 3. Yeah, that's kind of silly. I have 5 at 98. 107. I mean, some of them don't make sense. I doubt we're gonna hit a lot of those. A lot of those are like if the floor falls through. This one might hit. 119 might hit. That's actually probably not a bad to have this. This I should increase 110. These are all perfectly good. Will we hit that? I don't know. Maybe. Depends. I actually don't know. One. What are we gonna hit? 119. I have 5. 121. I'll buy a few more there. 121's good. I'll buy 4. Do I have enough? Buy 4? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna scope some bids in. Yeah, I mean, I just don't like. I guess my basic point is. I guess in my case, success, a lot of it is both. It's working hard, a lot of hours at a more lucrative venture, doing all the training I needed to do to get into that field. You know, but the big boosts in my life were virtually accidental. I mean, I saved up for 10 years, just tucking money aside. A lot of that was because I was in a compromised relationship with someone I didn't find attractive, but she was helpful to me. And even though I always contributed every month, it was just like rent. It was like a very low rent. It was like $200 a month. That's all I had to contribute. So it was very systematically I could run my couple businesses, and I accumulated enough to buy my first place down here. And that 5x, no, that 10x, it's complicated, but the land, there was plenty of land. So when I bought at the market crash. It was just a couple years after the big market crash. So the real estate market crash. So everything was absolutely dirt cheap. I mean, I bought a whole house with over 3 acres $19,500 or something. It was like a, in a beautiful, beautiful weather, beautiful context. I had to put a well in, so it brought it up to 21, 5, 19, 20, 25, 25. Yeah, because it was 21 or something. I got it down to 19.5, and then I put the well in, and it was 20,500 for the whole thing, all in. I obviously didn't owe anything on that. I just, that was it. I owned it. And I'd saved for 10 years to be able to do that. So, but my life was not hard. Those were not hard years. To be fair, they were what they were. They didn't feel too hard to me. They didn't feel that hard because I was doing something that I really enjoyed doing. For the most part, it was a lifestyle business. I liked taking care of animals. I had some animals. I didn't have that many. I just had some. And I also had, I did entertainment. So I like to sing. So singing was a big part of what I did. I like technology and using my technology and skills to further my business. So I combined a lot of things like that. And it just felt like there was plenty of air in what I was doing. Plenty of air, plenty of lift. So it never felt oppressive. It never felt too challenging. I had my own schedule. Basically, I could do things. And sometimes I would take 36 hours and I would fix the problem all in one go. I would just keep going until I solved the issue, whatever that issue might be. And sometimes I could just sleep late and I could do things in a different pace unless I had something I had scheduled. So I liked that. It was like my own businesses, my own schedule, my own freedom. And I maintained that for the first house that I was here, about 6 years. And then when I got my second place, it was much bigger, much nicer, but with a higher upkeep. So that's when I decided to start a new career, and I started getting my brain ready for that, and I did that. And then I got into the career. I did well. And so it's a career I have available now, which I didn't have before, which is good. I sort of like the idea of doing some sort of a YouTube career or streaming career, but I don't know that I have that particular discipline to do that. Mainly because I don't really like. I haven't decided how I would want to do that and what I want to invest in equipment or what I don't want to invest, things like that. On the other hand, investing in investments in general, I can work with, I can deal with. Because investments, why not? Why not? And I'll get into that. I'm gonna play this, and then I'm gonna play today. Like I already watched some stuff. Sometimes I go and I'm in more in a learning mode rather than applications. So I haven't been applying everything, but I have a big learning curve. So a lot of things like I'm doing, like even with the streaming, I'm learning. Like now I'm getting my settings right. And today I discovered that I think, but nobody's letting me know if I have a problem with it. I think that I can do without headphones on all the time. I don't seem to be having a whole lot of feedback issues with the mic. I think the mic's picking me up just fine. I think it does pick up a little bit of the music or the audio, but I don't think that matters. If it does, if anybody hears this, if it's looping or feeding back through So I guess I'll find that out soon enough when I listen back to streams. It's all right, one way or the other. Some things I know I need to do and I'm putting off. Like, so I have to learn some video editing programs enough to build some videos for YouTube to promote. And then I have to decide on what I want to do, what I want to promote, what kind of schedule am I willing to commit to, because I don't think you can really build a stream from scratch if you don't have a schedule. You have to, you know, be able to have a schedule and then promote that with shorts and videos, attract following with videos, and then if you get enough people who like your YouTube videos, that's probably the one that I can gain the most traction. Or Rumble, both, and then do streams. I still have a lot of learning curve because, like, let's say I did have a big audience in the stream. There's still a lot I don't know. There's just so much I don't know. Like, I don't have moderators, so if people started posting a lot of nasty shit, I haven't set up moderation, how that would work. And also, you know, fun things like dono goals and things like that. You know, how to set up anything like that. Although I think a lot of that just depends on the platform. One thing I could do is, and I just discovered this, and I think this is fucking really fascinating. Because I'm so small that I could use CoinDrop. CoinDrop is and it just gives you a quick URL. People can click it and they can make small like buy a cup of coffee kind of donations. Because I'm not sure I'll ever be monetized. You know, so even if I built up some streams and interest, that, you know, there's no monitor. So I at least don't mind making a coin drop thing available. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, that's pretty good. I could put it on my page. Yeah. Yeah, but first things first. Gotta attract some more audience. And the way I do things, I tend to stream in the middle of the night. And because I have no audience, I don't have a set. I don't have anybody to feedback off of and talk about what I want to talk about. And the other thing is I don't have so there's no reason to put in too much effort when nobody's listening. I'll put it that way. So that's just a bad idea. So putting in the time, putting up, creating a lot of material that I can maybe grab, make a video out of, things like that. That works for me too.
All right.
Let's hear them.
Obviously, this is coming from a woman's perspective because I am one.
Well, if you say so.
Number one, opening the door for your significant other. You telling me it's hard to open a door for your girl so she gets into the building safely? You're telling me it's so hard to open a car door for your shorty?
No, it's not hard.
It's not hard.
You see, ladies,
you're the ones that told us that doing something like that was condescending, very misogynistic.
You're strong and
independent boss bitches.
You
don't need no man, right?
Funny how after
screaming all that and screaming at us, we actually dared to do something like that.
You're now bitching and moaning because we listened to you and stopped opening doors. Which is it? Make up your fucking minds already. Will you?
This is how it's supposed to go. You walk on the other side of the door, open the door for her, watch her get in, and then watch her sit down.
Notice the condescension
in her voice.
Notice how she
literally believes she has explained to men how to open a door for a woman.
Oh, honey,
I
know you don't get it, but trust me, we men do. We see right through that toxicity, but hey, you keep spreading it because honestly, it's quite entertaining.
And I kiss her forehead and then gently close the door. Easy peasy, it's not hard.
Kiss her on the forehead. Oh, you mean make a romantic gesture that later on you'll twist, manipulate and decide was an unwanted sexual advance. Got it. Got it.
Yeah, no, darling.
Yeah, no, darling. We're not doing that stuff anymore.
Because the inherent risk that you'll suddenly change your mind on what was permissible weeks, months, years, hell, even decades later is simply too great. Y'all decided to weaponize me too, and honestly, you've gotten really good at it. You love destroying a man's reputation because it makes you feel powerful. Makes you feel like boss bitches, even when it's based on nothing more than getting revenge or a payout. As I said, we men are done with all that stuff. So you'll just have to get your forehead kisses from each other from now on.
Second, knowing her birthday. I watched this one YouTube video of this interviewer asking boyfriends about their girlfriends, and you telling me these motherfuckers don't know their girlfriend's birthday? You don't know the day where your beautiful girlfriend entered this world and graced you with her presence?
Oh, this just gets better and better. Sweetie,
in fact, you can't fathom that when they make those interview videos, they ask literally hundreds, if not thousands of people the very same question.
Then cherry pick
the ones that make men look bad in order to, and you might want to sit down for this one, get women to believe that all men are like that, they can't remember birthdays. All in order to push from the Sanders negative stereotype that women in society believe and want to spread. And they do so knowing full well that women will never question what is going on. Never take a moment to ask themselves, is this actually true or am I being manipulated? I mean, men see it, but apparently the opportunity to believe it's all men until it's no men is simply too good. Too good for the fields to pass up. You know, like you're showing in your video. And as to that whole birthday thing, if you're making knowing your birthday a hill to die on, well, darling, that tells us more about you than the men who don't know it or care to. And I'm betting that without your phone, you don't know many of the birthdays of the men in your life either. But y'all don't want to have that conversation, do you? Because, well, who cares about the men? It's all about me.
At a minimum, it's six numbers. Can your two brains handle that capacity already?
I'm sorry. I gotta interrupt and ask the lady something. Do you not see yourselves in how this is how most of you act towards men? Because I hate to break it to y'all, but she ain't the exception these days. Oh, hell no. She's the norm. The best part is, if you go and read the comments on her video, you'll see it's about 1,000 to 1 women supporting and agreeing with her. Yeah, sure, there's a couple that are pointing out her, let's call them mistaken beliefs. But the overwhelming majority of the ladies, as in 99.99%, are cheering her on. And if you think men are seeing these videos and are laughing their asses off at them and saying, why in God's name would I want to deal with this level of narcissism? Well, I'm sorry to say you're as delusional as she is. Ladies, she's speaking for you, all of you, and showing men exactly how you think.
Last but not least, get your girlfriends on flowers. Here's the thing about most women, they want flowers.
Well, I have to give her credit there. At least she's being honest that they want. Funny though, not once has she mentioned anything about what men deserve. Hell, I'm betting not once has she even thought men should ever want or deserve anything. I mean, come on already. Today's women should bring anything to the table because they are the table, aren't they?
But they're not about to ask for some damn. You are expected to get fucking flowers.
No, they aren't. Well, it may start with flowers. Let's be honest. What she's really expecting is for him to spend everything he has on her. Because again, it's all about her, baby. Good Lord. You gotta wonder how do women say these things all the time and then wonder why men are literally laughing in their face and walking away from them. Don't you?
Because if I gotta tell you that I want flowers, then that's me telling you what to do, and I'm tired of telling men what to do.
Yeah, because women don't tell men what to do 24/7, 365. I just can't.
I understand a lot of men cannot live day-to-day without women.
Oh, sweetie. You may understand it, and I have no doubt you actually believe it. But again, I hate to break it to you, but men don't need you. Don't want you, and are walking away from you. All of you. And it's a direct result of the overwhelming majority of today's modern women showing that, like this woman, this is how they think and act.
But we're tight, and all we want are some damn flowers.
If you want flowers, they're so damn important. Go buy yourself some. You're strong. You're independent. You don't need no man. You can pay your own way. So why should we waste our hard-earned money buying flowers for some mid-narcissist who nothing but never-ending greed, stress, and unrealistic demands and expectations into our lives? Yeah, sorry, Doc.
Yeah, you actually described that very well. She's mid-narcissist. She was exactly that.
Darlings, but no, just no. And ladies, I know y'all are going to say, I'm not like her. That's not all of us. You're not being fair. Blah, 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 blah. You can say it all you want. You can believe it. But that just makes you every bit as delusional as her. Because it is how almost all of you act. It is how almost all of you view men. As something to extract things from, to be taken advantage of. Or as you all love to couch it, he must be a good provider. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You created this monster, ladies. You, your mothers, and your grandmothers before you taught you and all of today's women to think and be this way. And it's on you to take responsibility for it and own it. But we both know you're never going to do that, which is why men have thrown up their hands and said, we're out of here. And why? They aren't ever coming back, at least not in the foreseeable future.
Anyone who knows where Bitcoin is going. I'm the only one who knows where Bitcoin is going next. That's what you're hearing from every crypto YouTuber these days, right? Let me tell you the truth. This cycle is broken, and everyone is desperately trying to cling on to any bit of hope that they can find, trying to prove it's not broken. But the sooner you admit it's broken, the sooner you can take advantage of the new cycle. And today I'm breaking down that new cycle in detail for you. Guys, I have so much to share with you today. Mind-blowing stuff. This bull run is going to be huge, and you need to be ready. So, if that sounds good, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into it. This video is for informational purposes only. Crypto assets at high risk and not suitable for all retail investors. This video is not intended for a UK audience. I told you guys in my last video, the 4-year crypto cycle is dead. Everyone says no it isn't. Because they're in denial. But nobody shows me evidence to the contrary. I can show you evidence that it is dead. This is the first Q1 in the history of bull cycles that's been bearish. 2013 bullish. 2017 bullish. 2021 bullish. 2025 bearish. Weird that. Not really following the rules. How about this? 2017 Bitcoin did break previous all-time high after the halving. 2021 after. 2025 before. Again, not following the rules of the cycle. What rules is Bitcoin following that? So Bitcoin is becoming more and more correlated with stocks over time. Look at this chart. This shows the correlation between Bitcoin and Nasdaq. The correlation has never been this high for this long consistently. Bitcoin is synchronizing with stocks. The rules have changed. The old rules and patterns no longer apply. So if we can't trust what we used to trust, where should we be looking? Can we even assume there's a new logic to how crypto moves? I think we can. But I also think this new logic will absolutely wreck you if you're not careful. Or if you insist on reacting to old indicators. So here's a step-by-step walkthrough on how these new conditions will impact your banks. Okay. So I already told you last week that crypto was starting to move more and more like stocks. 3 months ago, the combined assets under management of all ETF issuers went over 1.1 billion Bitcoin. That means Fidelity, BlackRock, Grayscale, etc. now hold more Bitcoin than Satoshi, which was to be expected eventually. But it's still shocking if you think about it, right? My point here is that these institutions have quietly established themselves as the #1 collective Bitcoin holder, which gives them enormous leverage when it comes to moving price. Traditional finance players are now so heavily invested in crypto and in Bitcoin in particular that lately we're seeing price much more in line with the stock market. I talked about this in my last video, so I'll be brief here. We used to think crypto followed 4-year cycles, and until now we have evidence to back that up. You can see the pattern here, right? Bitcoin hits a cycle top, then has a retrace, finds a local bottom after the first 13 or 14 months, recovers, breaks all-time highs, and then pumps hard after that. Well, we're still waiting for that hard pump this year. So you'll see why I think this pattern no longer holds. Have a look at this chart. Let me show you how crypto performed on that bear market compared to traditional stocks. This is the S&P 500. Started dipping in January 2022. Took roughly 2 years to recover. This is Nasdaq. Same period. Again. Same dip. Around the same dates. Then roughly 2 years to recover. And this is Bitcoin. I'm sure you guys can see the correlation here. This time, Bitcoin is almost perfectly aligned to stock market cycles. In a normal 4-year cycle, a standard crypto cycle, it would have taken Bitcoin an additional 7 or 8 months to break its all-time high. So
the first big
adjustment you need to make is you need to follow traditional stock markets more closely.
Not only because pumps in stocks might trigger pumps in crypto, but because TradFi cycles and crypto cycles are now much more aligned with each other.
You'll also have
Loads
noticed
of
loads of crypto analysts have started talking about QE&2.
Suddenly
everyone's an expert on macroeconomics. But
to be fair,
these concepts are also important to understand how this new bull market will develop.
Global
M2 is probably the easiest to understand.
It basically
It basically refers to how much money there is in the global economy.
Higher M2
means there's more money for people to spend. Central banks usually keep a tight control of this because
reckless money
printing directly impacts inflation.
But there are other ways to control them too,
like adjusting interest rates to tweaking their balance sheets.
I'll get back to that
in a second.
But first,
let me show you an interesting fact about M2.
When governments
decide to push more money into the economy, that push isn't felt immediately.
It
usually takes 3 to 4 months to impact prices.
I'm not talking
about the price of goods and services only here. I'm mainly referring to stocks and risk assets like Bitcoin.
So if you move this overlay a bit to the right
and take into account those 3 to 4 months,
you'll see that Bitcoin and global M2 are highly correlated. This supports the theory that Bitcoin is now moving more in line with traditional stocks. So this M2 line is something I keep a close eye on in the next months. Tracking things like M2 on your charts is a must. It should be part
of your everyday analysis.
Platforms that
provide charts that you can use every day are the best way.
And today's sponsor Maxi is one of my go-to choices in the crypto space. It's one of the fastest growing exchanges in crypto with over 3,000 cryptos to choose from. So if you're tracking multiple cryptos, everyone was optimistic that QT was coming to an end soon. And that we could probably see the
first rate cut of 2025 around June.
During periods of quantitative tightening, the Fed is actively looking to take money away from the economy. Essentially reducing money supply. Less money going around, tighter investor pockets, and basically a stingier perspective towards risk assets like Bitcoin. So QT is generally bad for markets. Naturally, crypto and stocks perform much better during QE periods in which the Fed is actively trying to pump more money into the economy, but even if we don't have QT ending is still good news for markets. However,
I do need to mention this because ignoring bad news isn't just going to make them go away.
US GDP numbers just came in. They came in at 2.4%, 0.1% higher than expected. And everyone is saying this is bullish. Look, I understand the argument if you were comparing it to the previous 3.1% reading. 2.4% right after 3.1% is bullish. Why would a stalling economy be bullish for crypto? Easy. Quiz time.
What was the reason for the latest Bitcoin dump?
I'll give you a hint.
18th of December 2024, that's when it all started going downhill.
That was exactly the day when the Fed announced
we wouldn't have 4 rate cuts this year, and we'd instead get 2.
Sure. Crypto did
attempt to recover after that, but you know how that story went.
Look guys,
we can overcomplicate this stuff all you want. We can throw trend lines in charts, talk about RSI, golden crosses, you name it. But the bottom line here is crypto is not pumping unless we get more rate cuts this year.
And to push the Fed into agreeing to more rate cuts, we need lower inflation, a stuttering economy, the money printers at full steam, and high unemployment figures. I don't make the rules, guys. I'm not saying I want unemployment to go up or GDP figures to stall. I'm saying that for crypto and risk markets to pick back up, we need rate cuts. So GDP, CPI, M2, NFP, and unemployment claims. I've added all of those to my crypto charts. Again, guys,
the sooner you accept that Bitcoin will start to move more and more like an S&P stock, the sooner you can make adjustments to your strategy and start taking advantage of these new conditions, or at least stop bleeding out money.
But even if
Bitcoin starts to move like the TradFi stock, that doesn't mean it can pump without retail coming back.
There was this huge debate a couple of months ago about Bitcoin becoming the primary hedge against inflation. People were referring to Bitcoin as digital gold. Even Cynthia Loomis was advocating selling gold to buy Bitcoin to become strategic reserve. Well, fast forward to March 2025, and that debate is definitely settled. Gold is breaking all-time highs day after day, whilst we're praying for Bitcoin to please hold over 80k, which is not a bad number at all, if you zoom out. But if Bitcoin had performed as gold did over these last 3 months, I'd probably be streaming from the Bahamas right now. And not this studio. Point is, the markets have spoken, and gold is still the number one asset owning periods of economic uncertainty. So it will still take some time and effort to bring retail back to crypto and pump prices back up. So how do you know when retail is about to come? Well, there are a few indicators. Some of my favourite ones are from Into the Cryptoverse, which is a really cool data website. This tracks new YouTube followers, for example. It's a great way to follow how invested the general public is in crypto. You can see the spikes in April and November 2021, which coincide with local tops of the year. And you can also see that current numbers are nowhere near close to what they used to be during the last bull market. Twitter.
Twitter.
Similar story.
Similar story.
Huge upticks
Huge
in
upticks in June and November.
Depressing
Depressing outlook today in comparison to the last bull market.
Looking at Google
Looking at
Trends
Google Trends is another way of tracking
retail
retail interest.
We're at 23 points right now,
which means that Google searches today are 23% of what they were at the height of the 2021 bull market, which was the moment of highest historical interest.
If you search
crypto instead, you get a similar graphic. So even whilst Google users grow day after day, interest in Bitcoin and crypto is not even a quarter of what it used to be in the last bull run.
Still, when retail
comes back,
and
it will come back,
these tools will
let
you know
when it's coming, so you can prepare your bags accordingly.
It may be sooner than you think, because as I told you before, there is something happening tomorrow that could very much signal the start of the 2025 alt season. Now, a word of warning before I tell you guys about this potential alt season trigger. This guy is still in control of the US economy. Actually, let's
add that as another indicator to follow this bull run.
Trump can single-handedly make or break entire markets.
He's shown it time and time again. Not only in crypto, big tech, AI, commodities, even forex. No one is safe from Trump's mood swings.
The latest development in this whole tariff saga revolves around reciprocal tariffs, which basically means that countries that have active tariffs on US goods, even if they were already established before Trump took office, will get a corresponding tariff in the same amount. This has the potential to wreak absolute chaos on the international economy. But knowing Trump, he's probably announcing this so he can get the upper hand in trade negotiations, and at the same time keep some flexibility in case things don't work out like the way he wants them to. Typical bully behaviour, but not entirely unexpected. So I'm also adding a couple of extra rules to my portfolio strategy. One, as of now, I'm following every single member of the Trump entourage on all socials. Not the healthiest of decisions, I know, before you laugh at me. If Barron Trump changes his favourite bubblegum brand, I want to be among the first to hear about it. I know that's a really
rubbish example, but that's what I'm going with.
And two,
I'm not betting against Sachs, Atkins, Altman, Justin Sun. You can criticise their methods, but these guys have earned a seat in the small council table, and we know that for a fact. Trump will listen to them. So I'm not putting my hard-earned money on the opposite end of the counter. Okay. You've made it this far. Good job. Time to share with you this little tidbit I found whilst browsing the charts for this video. This is a Bitcoin dominance chart. If you're new to crypto, Bitcoin dominance reflects what percentage of the total crypto market cap is taken by Bitcoin. At the moment, it's around 62%.
Pretty high to be honest.
Now,
you'd have to go back around 4 years to find a time when dominance was this high. Actually, you'd have to go back exactly to the last week of March 2021. This was Bitcoin dominance back then. And this is what happened after. Yeah. Bitcoin dominance dropped 22% in less than 2 months, whilst Bitcoin was frankly performing really well. Look at alts during the same period. They almost doubled their market cap during those 2 months. So if Bitcoin dominance repeats the pattern it established back in March 2021, this could actually mark the top of Bitcoin dominance and signal the official start of the 2025 alt season. I wouldn't get too excited about the short term though. For alt season to start, we probably have to see ETH come first, followed by larger caps like Sol, BNB, XRP. But after seeing how crypto has behaved in the last few months, I certainly wouldn't rule anything out. I'm tweaking my personal portfolio though. I'm de-risking a bit. I'll share it with you in the next week or so. Again, please like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. But most importantly, guys, probably the healthiest crypto advice I can give you now is to be patient. It's not the sexiest advice. I get it. It's not exciting or especially insightful, but as Warren Buffett once said, the stock market is an advice for transferring money from impatient to patient. So, trademark guys. Love you all. Don't be a dumbass. And I'll see you soon.
I feel the same way about me. Happy Monday, everyone. A California woman with the world's longest tongue says being a Guinness record holder has provided her with. Welcome to Jesse Waters Prime Time tonight.
The Tesla takedown weekend from hell.
It was inevitable that at least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience.
Regards to George.
I've been around. She's obviously brilliant. She's got a great laugh. People didn't see all of that. Was it possible to see that in 100 days? I don't know.
An inside look at the Kamala campaign.
The Democratic brand is toxic. We tend to be a little more judgmental than we should. This notion of cancel culture, Democrats need to own it. They've got to mature. It's just a bunch of dudes who go by he and him. Plus, happy April Fool's Day. He did it. Escaped from jail.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I heard this one.
All Jasmine, not to be confused with Davy Crockett. One of her birthday was a big... couple of bad dance moves is what you call a takedown. Hundreds of protesters popped up at Tesla showrooms over the weekend. And if you were just driving through, you probably saw some signs that said burn a Tesla. Or maybe you just got caught in traffic.
This maggot hates us. He hates us. Let's hang him.
You touch us again, I will break you. Protesters were handed little chant sheets just in case they forgot that they were protesting. And at 12 o'clock, every protester in Texas just got up and left at the same time. So what's going on here? Luckily, our very own student son of a gun, Charlie Hurt, was there to ask them.
What's wrong with you on this? Well, first of all, he came here as illegal documented immigrants, first of all. Second of all, he's a fascist Nazi salute.
Because he is blatantly trying to dismantle democracy in the U.S.
Are you concerned about this?
Not particularly.
Have you been on his website trying to cut out? No. Why not? Because I don't believe anything they would put out.
Not the brightest, but not surprising. The real resistance took place in driveways. One California man woke up in his Cybertruck, smashed and slashed.
I'm totally shocked. Like you said, this is a really quiet, safe neighborhood. We're at the top of the hill at the end of the cul-de-sac. We don't get very much traffic up here at all. Come an hour before that, I stake the place out, cover over my cameras, and do their little damage show. I'm a little chicken up right now, and I'm concerned that they may possibly come back. It's not a good feeling. I'm a family, my family here, my young son, and very unsettling.
They said Trump ran church were going to get rid of terrorizing people, but it's radical arrangement syndrome. And it's a diverse crew. Even illegals are getting in on it. Mr. Rodriguez here got his hands on some wire cutters.
Take a look at this video now. The police department needs your help with a felony vandalism investigation. 63-year-old Osvaldo Torres Rodriguez was caught on camera vandalizing a Tesla with wire cutters Friday. As you can see, he's vandalizing the hood and the vehicle's driver's side. Torres Rodriguez has an active felony warrant and is an undocumented immigrant. And these mostly peaceful protests are going global. It's an undocumented immigrant. And these mostly peaceful protests are going global. The Tesla dealership in the world was lit on fire and lost 17 cars. And it's not just Teslas. The Republican Party headquarters in New Mexico was set on fire and graffitied with ICE equals KKK. Pretty sure the KKK were the ones burning things and threatening innocent Americans. Like these people are. Protesters are even justifying rationalizing their destruction on camera.
Destruction of property is a perfectly viable source of protest. No harming humans, obviously. Human life is sacred no matter whose it is.
Property is, these are just things. These are just cars.
These are just cars. $100,000 Cybertruck can take you to work, to the grocery store, and your kids to school. Kind of more than just a thing. Besides your house is probably your most important property. But Pam Bondi's making an example out of them. Remember Lucy, the trans Tifa who torched a few Teslas? His accomplice just got indicted and is looking at hard time.
Today, I'm proud to be a Tesla attacker. We've charged Cooper Frederick in the firebombing of a Tesla dealership that occurred on March 7th in Loveland, Colorado. Of a Tesla dealership that occurred on March 7th in Loveland, Colorado. All of these cases are a serious threat to public safety. Therefore, there will be no negotiating. We are seeking 20 years in prison. The crime was committed in Colorado, and thanks to the great investigative work by the FBI, the defendant was arrested in Plano, Texas. Let this be a warning. You can run, but you cannot hide. Justice is coming.
Musk says it's time to arrest whoever's funding these attacks. Arresting their puppets and paid foot soldiers won't stop the violence. The world's richest man, big fat target on his back. And we hope he stays safe. This weekend, he held a town hall in Green Bay. Protesters showed up in the freezing rain. But Musk left his chainsaw at home, and he just showed up with a cheese hat.
What do you think of my hat? All right, I'm gonna sign the hat out. I'm gonna throw it out.
As usual, there were a few troublemakers.
It's insane. Yeah. It's really wild. So. It's really wild. So. I mean, it was inevitable that at least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience. Give my regards to George. Say hi to George. From me.
Liberals used to love Elon. He voted for Barack, Hillary, and Biden. And now he thinks his own party needs therapy and a value.
Isn't it shocking how much violence and hatred is coming from the left? I mean, isn't this supposed to be the party of empathy? And yet they're burning Teslas and shooting up dealerships and calling for the death of the president and me. I'm like, guys, this is insane. Like they're gone psycho.
The CIA director invited Musk over to visit Langley. Elon's been helpful with satellites. He's probably spying on the Chinese for us. But the agency needs to cut the fat too. Just hopefully the Doge boys don't look when they're not supposed to and get hurt. There's a few computers in there that you probably just shouldn't touch. But wherever he goes, he finds fraud.
Start at the top of the system, mapping the whole security to understand where the fraud was. This is what jumped out. When we saw these numbers, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people. Goes all the way to 2.1 and 24. These are non-citizens that are getting social security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
This literally blew us away. We just went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident.
Musk's going where no one's ever dared to go. Washington's piggy. Four nationals are stealing from it. Lawyers, bureaucrats, NGOs have all gotten caught red-handed. And like any good detective who's following the money's leading Elon right to the politicians.
There's a lot of strangely wealthy pitchers. There's a lot of strangely wealthy members of Congress. Where I'm trying to connect the dots. How do they become rich? Earning how they get 20 million, 200,000 a year. It sounds. That's how nobody can explain. So we're gonna try to figure it out.
Like how does Nancy Pelosi beat the market every year? She says her husband Paulie Pete manages the money, but he's in real estate. He's not an investor. And is Nancy short Tesla? The last person who got under Nancy's skin though got food, so Elon better watch 6. Democrats don't hate Elon for going after fat. They hate him for going after their fat. But Musk's just on a mission.
If the ship of America sinks, we'll sink with it. You know, this is something that I try to tell. Your company's not going to make it if the ship of America sinks. We can run off some other countries the other day. It's America. You know, I will die in America. I'm not going anywhere. I will too. I mean, I might go to Mars, but that will be part of America.
Watch Elon make it to Mars. The Democrats call him a colonist. Tell him to come home. People with common sense are grateful from us. The astronauts are grateful for this entire administration.
I respect you. I trust you. You've given me no reason not to trust either one of them. What they say. I can't say what they say. I haven't lived, but I have no reason not to believe anything because they've earned my trust.
And Trump's grateful for his brand new Tesla.
So you recently testified for White House staff to use, but now these domestic terrorists targeting Tesla. Is the staff scared to try?
I don't think so. I'm complaining. I'd like to say I've used it. I bought it conveniently. One day we give it to Margot, one day we give it to Chamberlain, give it to Natalie, we give it to everybody, give it to Dan.
It's good cop, bad cop. Elon slashing waste and firing dead weight. While Trump closes the border and brings home the bacon. America needed to turn around artists to get this country back in gear on solid footing for the future.
I think I'm popular. Great job. We've had the best almost 100 days of any president, and most people saying that. And it's an honor. It's an honor. And we're strong. And people were amazed. I was at a very important meeting today, and they said they've never seen a turnaround in the country as fast as this.
This country's changing so fast, we're getting whiplash. And the White House says it's all part of March Madness.
Some will fold under the pressure, but
part of March Madness.
Some will fold under the pressure, but champions thrive in madness.
Our country will be woke no longer.
This isn't just any competition. This is March. This is madness. And in this house, every play counts.
Our country is
on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which has never witnessed.
There's no second chance, no timeouts.
Americans are today a proud to be sovereign and independent nation.
Only the drive to win. And when the buzzer sounds, who backed down and who stepped up.
Even if the Democrats brackets busted, they can still sit back and watch. Just enjoy the game. Just don't light anything on fire. Dana Lash is a nationally syndicated radio host, and she is here. All right, Dana. It is interesting to see Musk go in different directions, but if he goes into the direction of how politicians are getting so rich on such meager salaries, what do you think is going to happen next?
Oh goodness, just hate him now. They're really going to hate him. That's the thing, and he knows it. I think he realizes. I mean, it's all fun and games when we poke at all the waste and all the taxpayer dollars and the fraud and the stuff that our money has gone towards. I mean, we laugh at some of the more extreme examples. But then defensive families have been living paycheck to paycheck, and it stops being funny. So for all the politicians out there that think that their wrath and their anger, so for all the politicians out there that think that their wrath and their anger at Elon Musk over stopping his spigot is bad. You haven't seen anything paycheck to paycheck. If they really want a FA and FO, you make the taxpayers mad. So I suggest some of those politicians in Washington, D.C., Jesse, they better taxpayers mad. So I suggest some of those politicians in Washington, D.C., Jesse, they better choose very wisely. And we did it once with the Tea Party, but that was us being Musk protesters really are. Are they just professional agitators that go from movement to movement to movement? They're performative. I mean, you mentioned the one that was in our town square, Bessie, here in South Lake, Texas, the largest red urban district in the entire United States. There are maybe 5 communists that live here, and they're all over the age of 70. And I don't want to insult boomers. These are communist, boomer hippies, not the nice hippies that think they're Snow White and go out in the woods and eat mushrooms, not those ones. These are the ones that want to take all everything you have and bosh go around in a drive. They went home promptly the ones that want to take all everything you have and bosh go around in a drive. They went home promptly at noon, but they stood out in front of the dealership, and I was talking to our business owners that they had to close their doors because they were screaming at everyone. Like, these people were out there yelling and cussing at everybody on their appearance age, and they're loud, and that's, you're not persuading anyone to not buy a Tesla. It made me want to buy a Tesla. And I like gas and oil. So this is having the opposite effect. The more performative they are, the better it works for us and the better it works for you.
We've covered these stories before, whether it's BLM, whether it's a lot of this violent stuff you see with Antifa or even Occupy. Eventually someone really gets hurt. You might see someone die. You can see a road rage incident. You can see vigilantism. If you see someone messing with your vehicle at night and you go out your driveway with an arm, anything could happen.
Pulled in front of a woman on the roadway, blocked her and went over to her. I played audio today on the radio show, somebody getting beaten in their cars because they were in a Tesla. There one day these people are going to attack the wrong person, and I really hope it doesn't come to that. But this is what the left doesn't realize. I mean, you're messing with people who want to be left alone. We can't turn our heads as fast as they can jump on pet issues. They were telling everyone just years ago to go buy Tesla. And a lot of people I have friends, they were telling everyone just years ago to go buy Tesla. And a lot of people I have friends on the right, left, center that all Teslas, and now you can be targeted for the car you drive. I mean, the left, I'm telling you, it's going to be sad if they unfortunately find themselves in a situation where someone's violent, because then they're going to be screaming for justice about that. It's unfortunate.
I would not want a Cybertruck tire track on my back if I came back from the pro.
I kind of want a Tesla, because I do like fighting.
Tell about the Kamala campaign. The author is here next. What's left of Biden's legacy is buried in a pile of books written by his old pals in the media. Democrats are leaking all Biden's dirty secrets to reporters. He was even worse than we thought. A new book, Inside the Wildest Battles for the White House. Says Biden hired a makeup artist to make him look younger. He'd get touch-ups before Zoom calls, foreign trips and briefings. Was he wearing more makeup than Kamala? Like Don wanted to talk. Biden also started to not recognize people. He met with Congressman Eric Swalwell and had no idea who he was. Swalwell had to drop little hints like, remember, I debated you on stage during the primary. Fang Fang's boyfriend, remember? But it never should have gotten this bad. One of Biden's friends told the author that Joe's choice to run again was the original sin. They blame Biden's family for not telling him to hang it up. The same book reveals that Kamala desperately begged Biden for his endorsement. After Joe called Kamala to tell her that he was going to drop out, she said, quote, "You need to endorse me." Biden wanted to wait a couple of days after his exit to announce his endorsement, but Kamala begged, quote, "This is important for your legacy, to show that you have absolute faith in your VP." Obama didn't think Kamala should be the candidate. He wanted an open primary. But Biden's early endorsement set the Democrat machine in motion. She was in. Obama was eventually forced to endorse her, but it was completely phony. Kamala's team wanted Obama to do it on video. But Michelle refused to go on camera, so they phoned it in instead. It was all scripted.
Kamala!
Hi!
Hey there!
You're both together.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you, everything we get through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh my goodness. Michelle brought so much to me.
We all know Kamala's not authentic, that's why her campaign crashed and burned. But Biden's press flag says we just didn't have enough time to fully appreciate Kamala's charm.
I mean, I don't know her super well, but I've been around. She is very engaging. She's obviously brilliant. She's funny. She's got a great laugh. People didn't see all of that. Was it possible to see that in 100 days? I don't know.
100 days?
100 days?
We had 4 years.
To get to know her.
That's why she had the strong arm, the nomination for Biden. She didn't earn it. The media doubts Kamala could even get elected as governor of her own state.
I think voters are going to be looking for somebody from the outside, and I think the Harris, somebody who's the former vice president, former U.S. senator, the former district attorney in San Francisco. I just, how does she sell change? She's got to somehow run against Gavin Newsom's governorship. So I just don't see the path for her.
Kamala thought she could be the pantsuit messiah and could just swap joy in for hope and change.
One of the most dangerous things to me about how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ran was they ran fully in defense of, not in reform. It is
race to lock down the delegates and Biden. He's going to come back. In that moment, they're trying to make payroll in August. They're trying to make sure that they have enough money to do that. They ended up writing enough money, and it really didn't matter because President Trump had a message. Kamala Harris was not able to.
I'm Laura Ingraham, and this is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. Vicious, crazy, and stupid. Meet the resistance. And they say third time's a charm.
People are asking me to run the whole story about running for
And with a cheesehead, stay sharp tomorrow.
This is one of those things that may not seem that it's going to affect the destiny of humanity, but I think it will.
And Tim Walz's family still reeling.
I'm, privileged white woman.
And another Biden-era scam uncovered. We're going to take you inside, I kid you not, the EPA museum and an angle investigation. But first, reform or ruin? That's the focus of tonight's. For years, we've warned about the Democrats' true motives in leaving the border wide open. It was never an accidental policy. This was done in order to, number one, import cheap labor, and number two, import new Democrats, thus changing the American electorate forever. And yesterday, campaigning for bad Schimmel in that Wisconsin Supreme Court seat, Musk and one of his Doge colleagues shared what they found at the Social Security Administration.
When we saw these numbers, what is this? In 21, you see 206,000 people, goes all the way to 224. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing
We went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. Once you're in the country, and you got asylum, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765. It's the work form. You get this form called 766. That's the authorization. And then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview. No ID.
Social Security number, a card. Now, what could go wrong with that? Well, what do you need to show to vote? To register. In many states, a passport or a license or a Social Security card and a utility bill will suffice. Biden's DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas knew very well what he was doing. The great defender of democracy that he is.
People sometimes think that under the Biden administration, he was simply asleep at the switch. They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
Of course, those who hate the country and hate the fact that we elected Trump not once but twice, of course, they were desperate to ensure that the country was flooded with millions of mostly illiterate, low-skilled illegals. People who are easily manipulated right up to their party registration. Then came Trump, Elon, and Doge. And day after day, they're exposing how the federal bureaucracy and its defenders are alternatively conniving and incompetent. And if Trump wins these court cases, we'll not only save billions and make the government more efficient, we're going to nail the crooks who game the system the whole time, including any illegals collecting Social Security or yes, even voting. Now remember, New York wanted illegals to vote in their local elections, took a court, ultimately the highest court in New York to stop that. And the Doge team's discoveries are as revealing as they are embarrassing. Same with the fear-mongering that must specifically refute it.
I guess it would be helpful to state it as crisply and clearly as possible that Doge will absolutely ensure that people get their Social Security, make sure they get their Social Security, make sure they get the Medicaid, and will not be cutting any legitimate payments whatsoever. Crystal clear.
Of course not. Even the dimmest of dimwits should know that stopping fraud and waste will help save, not destroy Social Security. And speaking of dimwits, it turns out the anti-Musk AstroTurf protesters are too stupid to remember their own talking points. Reports over the weekend that many of them were clinging to scripts that I guess they printed off the internet and got them somewhere. And many of the protesters can be tied back to left-wing groups such as Indivisible, Troublemakers, and something called the Disruption Project. Again, this should come as no surprise. They're throwing everything at Trump and Musk to stop them before they reveal more, before they save more, and before they dismantle more of their prized bureaucracy. Of course, all the slush funds, climate change, population control, and all the trans madness that we've seen. Now, for whatever reason, Republicans, they tend to sit on their butts in off-year elections when Trump's not on the ballot. Well, Elon Musk aims to change that in what is the most expensive judicial race in history, in Wisconsin, which will determine who controls the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
If the Supreme Court is able to redraw the districts, they will gerrymander the districts and deprive Wisconsin of 2 House seats on the Republican side. Yeah, exactly. The result of that could be that the House switches to a Democratic House. Yes, indeed. And then they will try to stop all of the government reforms that we are doing, and we're getting done for you, the American people.
Again, reform means ending the waste, the fraud, and abuse, so we can actually remain solvent and thus free and independent country. But somehow the hard left considers that all to be a threat. Now this sign captures the idiocy. And this idiocy captures how unhinged they really are. Over the weekend, Musk essentially asked Wisconsin voters, do you really want to be aligned with those guys?
Isn't it shocking how much violence and hatred is coming from the left? They're burning Teslas and shooting up dealerships and calling for the death of the president and me? I'm like, guys, this is insane. Like, they're total psycho.
Again, think of this study in contrast. You have Trump and Musk, Vance, real reformers, build stuff, versus unhinged radicals who wreck stuff. In 2020, it was looting and burning to honor George Floyd. And now it's arson and graffiti and an Albuquerque GOP headquarters to resist Trump. Oh, and even urging murder to stop ICE.
Shoot at ICE agents on site. That's right. If ICE agents are trying to take you or a loved one, shoot them on site. The way they're pulling up with masks on, with unmarked vehicles, no badge, no nothing. It could be anybody. It could be gang members. You have every right to shoot at them.
Why aren't the Democrats condemning this? Now, most of them, when the cameras are remaining mute. And that should tell you all you need to know about how you should vote in these mid-year, off-year elections. And that's the end. Joining me now is Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA. Charlie, great to see you tonight. Now, we have seen a lot from the Democrat Party since 2020. We've seen what they're capable of. But what is it about Elon Musk and what he's doing that really has turned them into insane, total lunatics and criminals?
It's two primary things. Just like President Trump, he's a class traitor. He used to be part of the ruling class of the country, and he decided to defect from the orthodoxy of being a wealthy, polite person in America. And said, I'm not going to go along with the zeitgeist of the times. I'm going to challenge this idea that we have open borders and that we're wasting all this money. So he is a class traitor, and President Trump is the most popular class traitor of this generation. So President Trump and Elon Musk have that in common. But number two is he used to be a darling of the left. Not as much as President Trump. I've never said President Trump was on the left. He used to be loved by all these networks. But Elon Musk used to be the poster child of environmentalism, of clean entrepreneurship, of forward-thinking innovation. Barack Obama used to do cameos and newspaper articles and interviews alongside Elon Musk saying this is the best of the American entrepreneur. But now that Elon Musk has decided to use his fame and most importantly his fortune to uncover the hundreds of billions of dollars of waste and to support President Trump, they have now unleashed the hordes of left-wing activists, Tesla owners, dealerships, workers, even cheering on the decline of the Tesla stock. So President Trump and Elon Musk being class traders and formerly friendly with the left that animates them because they're trying to say to people, you are not allowed to leave the ranks of high society left-wing thought.
Oh, sharp analysis, Charlie. Turning Point USA, I know spoke to some of these protesters in Phoenix. Let's watch.
We need to focus on getting Musk out. And he has absolutely no right to have his sticky rich fingers in the American people's money.
Elon Musk is in our Treasury Department with 19-year-old cronies and worried about my Social Security. He should be locked up and removed from this country. He has absolutely no idea what he's doing. It is my understanding that Elon Musk does not have any kind of degree in economics.
No, I'd like to see his degree. Charlie, it's all the same tired talking points. Some of them don't even look like they believe what they're saying. It's almost like a performative experience for them.
That's right. First of all, credit to our amazing Turning Point USA team on the front lines of gathering that footage. Some of those protesters can get rather violent, so they've done a great job. The left right now, if they get their way, they want to destroy the singular, most successful American manufacturing story of the last couple decades. We're actually building cars in our country, and we're building rockets in our country, and we are the world leader on both, and they want to destroy that. Why? Because the politics don't allow. And you can hear with some of these protesters, I totally agree, there's no thought, it's just repeating what the media has told them. But one thing that they mentioned at the end, what's his degree in economics? That's so important because Elon Musk is not an approved credential elite. He's not an expert. He's not a Dr. Fauci type. Instead, he built something. And that is a truth about the American left that has taken a risk, that has built something of value, especially in the hardware space, not just the software space.
Charlie, very briefly, this Wisconsin Supreme Court race tomorrow is critical. And the media coverage of this is, Elon Musk is pouring all this money. He's pouring a lot of money. And it's not as much as Soros and the gang, the billionaires on the left, because they want to take at least those two seats that could be gerrymandered with the Supreme Court's help and flip the House. That's what the ultimate goal is, and they ultimately impeach Donald Trump. That's what this is about. And the media coverage of this is typical.
It's massive. Wisconsin is the biggest election of 2025, according to Wall Street Journal. We are Turning Point action folks on the ground right now, chasing ballots. We need massive turnout. If we're not losing Wisconsin, we will not lose the Democrats. We'll lose to the House. We'll lose because we did not go and show up in record numbers. We need a working class movement tomorrow in major numbers to make sure that Schimmel wins the Supreme Court race. Because if not, it might result in Democrats winning the House in 2026, and then impeachments and subpoenas, and the sequence of events from there would be detrimental to our republic. It all starts tomorrow in Wisconsin. Also the special election for Randy Fine in Florida. Big election time. We just got over an election. Tomorrow, big election day in Wisconsin, Florida. Go out.
You bet, Charlie. Get off the couch and get to vote. Charlie, thank you as always. All right, the same party that accuses Donald Trump of being an autocrat, even a dictator, now wants to dictate the brand of American car you drive. To Charlie's point here, now New York State Senator Pat Fahey has introduced a bill that would take away Tesla's right to sell vehicles and the way they sell them in the Empire State. So blissfully unaware of the obvious due process prohibitions here, Fahey told Politico, no matter what we do, we've got to take this from Elon Musk. He's part of an effort to go backwards. Joining me now, New York Congressman Michael Waller, Congressman, setting aside the constitutional hurdles here, what does that say to other business owners in the state who publicly are conservative or support Donald Trump?
Well, this is the reason why New York leads the nation in outmigration, where we have the worst business climate, the highest taxes, and Democratic politicians constantly saying that conservatives and Republicans have no place in New York. The comical part about this, Laura, is that New York has an electric vehicle mandate that goes into effect by 2035, basically banning all fossil fuel cars. The biggest seller of electric vehicles, of course, is Tesla. And New York, previously, under Andrew Cuomo, gave billions of dollars in support of Tesla moving a factory to New York. So the hypocrisy here is mind-numbing. I have thus far been subjected to so many of these protests in my district by Indivisible and the far left, including protesting outside of Tesla dealership in Mount Kisco. If people want to see it, they should say it's crazy to 85007. These protesters are absolutely out of control.
Hey, by the way, this Fahey fellow, Congressman, is a major proponent of EVs, even putting out press releases about his efforts since New York has set a target of reaching 100% zero-emission new vehicle sales by 2035. Is this not the irony of all ironies? You got to believe that it's a choice between allowing China to dominate the EV market versus Musk. They go with China any day of the week.
No question. I mean, Hochul had a Chinese communist party as part of her administration. But the fact is that New York has led the effort to try and force electric vehicle sales upon the general public. And the fact that they're now trying to ban the sale of Tesla in New York speaks volumes to how unhinged they've become over Elon Musk.
Congressman, as always, great to see you. Thank you very much. And President Trump, third term, is serious, is even possible. Constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley will unpack this next. Diagnosis. He's running for president.
Part of the problem with the Democratic brand, we talk down to people, we talk past people. These guys are pushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now.
But is Gavin Newsom's party really in the mood to hear critique from a governor whose state has a $46 billion budget deficit?
The Democratic Party brand is really problematic, and I think it is a brand that is, with all respect to my colleague from California, is associated with New York and with California.
Joining me now, co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, Charlie. Are the Democrats? Look, they're focused on all their energy, demonizing Musk, Tesla, Musk, Trump, whatever. But have they really done anything to change the policies that drove their brand into anything?
No, and I don't think they are going to. And it's so funny listening to Mike Bennett and Gavin Newsom. They're sitting here talking about this stuff as if they're not the party leaders who have led the Democratic Party into this cul-de-sac of brain-dead, stupid ideas. And the real problem for them is that they led the party in this direction, not just because it made them feel good, although I think maybe it did make them feel good, but because there are a lot of very powerful, wealthy interests that want them to do this. And they've gone along with it, and they're addicted to the money. They're addicted to the special interest money that they get. They don't know what to do without it. And so honestly, Laura, they can sit here and claim that they had their sort of come to Jesus moment, they've seen the light, and they recognize that their party is off the skids. They're never going to give up power. They're never going to take responsibility for putting them in that position, and they will never give up the money and the power that's associated with pushing these crazy ideas that benefit only the wealthy elites.
The funny thing too is that they see the numbers, Charlie, and they see that their big deficit is among young male voters. And obviously the bleeding Hispanic support as well. Young male voters. And they still don't really get it. Watch.
I think about the foundation for race in the first place. It was young people, and a lot of it was young men, because I think we were speaking to them and not speaking. Because if you look at the data that we have about young men in our society, there is a fall off.
Okay, well, how is that a diagnosis? We're speaking to them. I don't even know what Westmore is. I still can't believe he won the governorship of Maryland. But it doesn't seem like there's any recognition of what they've done to demonize these people.
No, and even like Wes Moore, who's one of the probably brighter lights in the Democrat Party, newer to the scene, I don't think that he's particularly prepared to recognize that all of the moneyed interests that govern the Democrat Party are going to have to be disappointed. And the thing that Charlie Cook was saying a minute ago, talking about Elon Musk and Donald Trump being class traders, it's a really good point. And it's something that you're really going to have a hard time seeing on the Democrat side because they really are so addicted to that money and that power in politics, and it's all they have. Conservatives have all kinds of things that they're interested in. Look at all of Elon Musk's interests. Look at all of Donald Trump's interests. They could be doing anything else. They've spent their lives doing all these really interesting things. They're interested in politics right now. They love their country and they want to fix it. But this isn't their whole life. On the left, Bernie Sanders. Could you imagine Bernie Sanders getting a job in any real line of work?
I think it is simpler than that. I think Democrats have no solution. They have no idea about how to raise people's standard of living. You can like Trump or loathe Trump, but he's been really consistent. We have to reindustrialize the United States of America. We have to bring manufacturing back. We got to level the playing field on trade. The only way to do that, he believes, is with a lot of tariffs and strong fiscal policy. That's it. So it's an idea, right? They have an idea. They're basically just like, no, you're not going to get any back. I think that's what young men are hearing when they speak. Charlie, I'm sorry I ranted, but good to see you. You work all the time. Thank you so much for being here. All right, tomorrow, April Fool's Day, but President Trump said not joking about serving a third term.
People are asking me to run all sorts about running. I don't know. I look into it. They do say there's a way you can do it. I don't know about that. I want to do a fantastic job. We have 4 years, just almost 4 years.
Yes, heads blowing off shoulders all over the United States. Jonathan Turley, constitutional law expert. All right, Jonathan, in an interview with NBC News, the president told your friend Kristen Welker that there are methods in which he could do this, including having J.D. Vance run, then passing the role over. Now, what is really possible? Is there any scenario other than a constitutional amendment under which the president could serve basically a third term?
Well, there's also entering a parallel universe coming back. These are all possibilities, but not very likely. This is a president who loves to give a snake in a can to the media just to watch them open. And he's doing this. This is another jump scare that has just lit up the internet. This has been long a parallel game among presidents, whether you could get around any president get around the 22nd Amendment. The problem is the 22nd Amendment is pretty clear. Some people have argued that because the 22nd Amendment refers to someone who was twice elected, that only applies to people who run for the office, not serve for those terms. That seems a rather large stretch, but the problem is to do that. It's called a handoff scenario where you have someone like Vance get elected, then he hands it back to Trump, is that in order to be vice president under the 12th Amendment, you have to be eligible to be president. And the problem is that you're not if you've been elected twice. So you have trouble being a vice presidential candidate, which means that many states would keep you off the ballot. But there's also a cost to this that may not be fair to people like Vance or others who are run. All of this talk tends to diminish them. Part of Trump's legacy will be securing the White House for a Republican. And this type of talk reduces figures like Vance to sort of mini-me's, and that's not a good thing for them. It's not fair to people like Vance. So this does appear to be something of a jump scare. But with the exception of amending the Constitution, it does not seem particularly credible.
Well, Professor, it seems like again, he loves to tweak and tease and kind of shiny object over here and outrun but it plays into their tired refrain of Trump as the autocrat, Trump as the king. I mean, he's a duly elected president of the United States. It plays into their narrative. That's all I'll say about that. Probably good to leave that to rest. I think part of his amazing legacy will be the incredible cabinet he's had and J.D. Vance. I mean, that's an incredible legacy. 3 years from now, we'll see how that all plays out. Professor, thank you for educating us. And next, liberals try to take down a populist leader with lawfare. Here? Is that happening here? The global establishment, the EU, the UN, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, academic elites. They're very worried. Why? Because they know an increasing number of working class people around the world are onto their failures. From the COVID cover-up to the rise of China to the Middle Eastern refugee influx everywhere to inflation. The so-called smart set has blown. Their influence and reputation are cratering. But their response is never to attack the middle or a little bit to the right. Instead, their response is to try to knee-tap the competition. Of course, Trump won in 2024 despite what they tried to do to him. But are we supposed to believe that it's a mere coincidence that criminal investigations were launched against the other reformers worldwide? Bolsonaro in Brazil, Imran Khan in Pakistan, Matteo Salvini in Italy, Ke1Lan3's in Romania. And now, Marine Le Pen in France. Her party, the Populist National Rally, surged in recent French elections, a real threat to establish majority parties. But now, she's facing prison for what French authorities claim is the misuse of funds. Her conviction comes with a 5-year ban from public office. How convenient. If the American people hadn't fought with everything we had, Trump and many of his supporters would be in jail right now. In the meantime, we Americans have to think to ourselves. How much money, how many resources do we want to spend defending a country like France that will not let its citizens pick its own president? Joining me now, Victor Davis at the Hoover Institution. Victor, and what were the chances that Le Pen could get a fair trial in France? Is it the same as Trump and
Less. They don't have a constitution like ours. Finally, in the end, help somewhat. But you know, the Europeans are always telling us that they, not us, are the guardians of democracy. And they are the forerunners. They don't emulate America. We copy them. And now what they're doing is they look at these 4 years in the wilderness of Trump and the 91 indictments. They thought that's a pretty good way to neuter a candidate and get him off the ballot in 25 states and raid his home. So now we see in Romania in March they did it with Ionescu, and he probably won't be on the ballot in May. In February, the alternative for Deutschland, what they call the far right, which is pretty conservative party, it would have 150 seats, 20% of the vote, and no other party would even get near them to form a coalition and therefore a government. And now Le Pen, they not only got off the ballot, she's under house arrest for 2 years, and then a suspended sentence. So they criminalize it, and they're copying what the left has done in America because, as you pointed out, they've got the same symptomatology. They don't know what to do with this massive backlash and pushback against the New Green Deal, the Green Party, and the open borders, and the immigrant crime. No one listens to people, and they've been fed up.
Victor, they predicted that she was going to win in the first round, at the very least, of the upcoming elections in 2027. She's going to win that first round. Really quickly.
Yeah, and they knew what that meant. That all of a sudden 20 or 30 or 40 years of this far left architecture was going to be dismantled. And they looked at what Elon Musk is doing and Trump here, and they said, that's where we're headed. If we let these people have power, we're not going to do it. Because they saw that Trump beat it and was successful, and they see what he's doing, and that's terrifying.
Well, Victor, you predicted this long ago. The populist movement, they can keep trying to deny it, try to criminalize it, but ultimately it's going to come back to bite them. And their policies don't work. So ultimately, it's what their efforts are going to fail. We'll have some temporary wins, but Le Pen says she's going to fight on. However she can do that.
Victor, as always, thank you so much.
All right, none of you care about the White House Correspondents' Dinner, nor should you. But pretty interesting that they're firing their entertainment.
Welcome to Hannity, and tonight about the love. We have a lot of ground to cover, and we're going to move pretty fast tonight. Now, coming up, there are three major elections tomorrow that will have massive ramifications for our country, including two House seats in my great state of Florida, one Supreme Court justice race in Wisconsin. Now, that will tip the balance of power in that state. All three Trump-endorsed candidates, they will join us tonight. Why this is important around the country, you need to hear. Also, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will be here to talk about DOJ, the toxic Democratic Party, and they have no property tax in Florida. He's planning to eliminate or greatly reduce property taxes. They don't have any income tax, so that would be a big change. And then we're going to show you a wild video from a riot in New York City. Welcome to New York. Sorry, I don't miss you. Along with a chaotic car chase in California, and of course the Democratic Party's rising star, once again making news for all the wrong reasons. We'll explain that in detail. We begin with some really good news. Over the weekend, President Trump secured the release of yet another American hostage, this time from Afghanistan. But most Democrats couldn't care less. The party that drinks itself in compassion is now just totally consumed with rage and hatred. And on Saturday, there were more than 200 highly coordinated, hate-filled Tesla takedown protests at dealerships around the country. Democrats now despise the world's number one electric car company because its CEO is helping audit the federal government and exposing the Democratic Party's waste, fraud, and abuse of your hard-earned tax dollars. And, he supports Donald Trump. God forbid. Everyone that he saves astronauts, never mind all the good that he does. This is viewed as the mortal sin on the left. many self-righteous so-called liberals feel empowered to commit heinous acts of domestic terrorism and violence against Tesla owners, dealerships, charging stations, and here are just a few examples from over the weekend. For example, at one dealership in Idaho, an anti-Tesla terrorist plowed into a Trump supporter with his car before fleeing the scene in Boston. Police there are searching for a man harassing Tesla owners and attacking their vehicles. Northern California, a masked individual seen slashing all four tires on a cyber in truck. Arizona, an elderly woman driving a Tesla was brutally assaulted on a highway. Bucks County, Pennsylvania, a man who caught a swastika on a Tesla was confronted by the owner. And here's a montage of all the singing and performative art and raving at Tesla dealerships around the country. Take a look. Right, this is madness. This is outright evil. Somebody's going to get killed before this is all said and done. We all know what's happening here. Democrats lost an election. Now they're engaging in a campaign of intimidation and violence. They love to tout the virtues of democracy until they lose an election. And then it's not just an attack on Tesla. I think all the people that will be hurt that work for dealerships that repair them, that make those cars. Their jobs are now at risk. What they cared about working men and women. The Republican Party headquarters in New Mexico. Also, it was just firebombed. The words ICE KKK spray painted on the chart building. Meanwhile, on TikTok, the deranged lunatic called for illegal immigrants to start shooting at ICE officials. Take a look.
Shoot at ICE agents on site. That's right. If ICE agents are trying to take you or a loved one, shoot them on site. The way they're pulling up, with masks on, with unmarked vehicles, no badge, no nothing. It could be anybody. It could be gang members. You have every right to shoot at them. This would be the best self-defense case. You're just in fear for your life. The way these ICE agents are pulling up, with masks on, unmarked vehicles, they are pulling up like gang members. They're pulling up like a mafia. You might as well shoot them on site and have your day in court. Take care, guys. Now I'm out.
All right, so is anybody in the Democratic Party, their leadership, anybody in the safer legacy media mob, and they're going to ask people to tone down the rhetoric and stop the violence because the many Marxists in power now in that party are fomenting violence across the country. Their silence has been too deafening, just as they were silent over Joseph on the borders while Americans were being murdered and raped and victims of other violent crimes, just like they were silent in the summer of 2020. So long to all we are saying is peace, give a chance. That party's dead. That party's gone. An insurrection is bad. That party's gone. Insurrection's okay as long as it's their insurrection. And while the media mob pretends to panic about terrorists, here's what's really happening. $20 billion in new investments from Hyundai, $661 million new EV production from Nissan, $100 billion for new American factories and other high-tech facilities from Apple, hundreds of billions of dollars in new domestic chip production, $100 billion for new domestic AI infrastructure, $100 billion from a Taiwanese semiconductor company for American manufacturing, a whopping $1 trillion in new investments from the UAE, another $1 trillion from Saudi Arabia, billions more from Merck and Eli Lilly and GE and other major multinational corporations. In Donald Trump's first full month in office, the country gained 10,000 manufacturing jobs, stealing 10,000 jobs each month during his last year as president. And meanwhile, multiple countries now have already made key concessions. Why? To avoid Trump's reciprocal tariffs. The European Union has proposed lowering tariffs on car imports. Amazing. Just because Donald Trump said he'd do it right back to them. And they're going to increase the purchase of American liquefied natural gas. That'll be good for the gas industry. That's how paying career jobs for people. The United Kingdom is working on a bilateral trade deal that will eliminate all tariffs imposed by Britain. Now already reduced their tariffs on motorcycles and whiskey, and now is considering lowering or eliminating tariffs on most, if not all, imports from the U.S. Vietnam has also cut tariffs on multiple imports, including American gas, cars, and internet services. The negotiations are far below. Take a look.
If you look at the unfair practices that we have, 50% from the European Union on American dairy, you have a 700% tariff from Japan on American rice, you have a 100% tariff from India on American agricultural products, you have nearly a 300%
300% tariff on American butter and American cheese. This makes it virtually impossible for American products to be imported into these markets, and it has put a lot of Americans out of business and out of work over the past several decades. So it's time for reciprocity, and it's time for a president to take historic change to do what's right for the American people, and that's going to take place on Wednesday.
You mean our friendly countries have been taking advantage of us, and President Trump is calling them out, and now all of a sudden they're making changes that they should have never had to make in the first place? Anyway, President Trump's putting America first, and American jobs first, and it's paying off in spite of the skittishness of Wall Street. Why is that such a hard pill for Democrats and the media to swallow? Here with reaction, White House Deputy Chief of Staff of Policy, Stephen Miller. Steve, good to see you. The amount of money in investment just over the threat of these tariffs, the amount of change that has taken place from Europe to India, to Canada, to Mexico, elsewhere around the world is deep, it is profound. By my math, we're approaching $4 trillion of money that likely would never have been invested in manufacturing in this country, had the president not done this.
Yes, this is the great healing and rejuvenation of the American economy after half a century of rampant offshoring, outsourcing, and deindustrialization. Sean, there was once a time in which Motor City in Michigan, Detroit automakers powered the entire globe. There was once a time when you could drive through Pennsylvania and all you would see were humming steel mills, humming coal plants, manufacturing facilities. Again, that were supplying the entire world, supplying Americans and all the planet Earth. Ohio was again a bedrock of American industry and manufacturing. Foreign countries like China, Canada, Mexico, Cambodia, Vietnam, and the European Union took advantage of our country and our leaders, and they used both high tariffs, illegal subsidies, product dumping, currency manipulation, intellectual property theft, and other unfair trade practices and predatory trade practices to crush American industry. President Trump is resetting the entire global market by saying, number one, you can't steal our jobs. Number two, if you want to get preferential treatment, you have to put your factory inside the United States. Your auto plant, your manufacturing facility, your AI plant, your chip plant, whatever it is, you want to sell it to Americans on a preferential basis, then you have to make it here. And if you do, you'll get low taxes, low regulations, and cheap energy. But if you sell it to us from overseas, then yes, you will pay a tariff.
You know, okay, so Canada, for example, they don't pay their fair share of NATO. They don't control their borders, and they have all these tariffs on products that are impactful to the American manufacturers, American dairy, American poultry. So they put all these tariffs, even up to 245% after a certain level, which is madness to me. If you buy a car in Germany, you pay a 10% tariff, and then you pay a back tax, which is a value-added tax on top of that, which means that Germany sells 8 cars in America for every one car American cars sold in Germany. Why should we put up with that? I thought they're supposed to be our friends and allies.
Isn't it amazing, Sean? Think about this. The American defense umbrella, paid for by American taxpayers, single-handedly keeps Canada safe and Europe safe and NATO safe. It's all us, Sean. Without us, these countries have no security net whatsoever. And instead of paying for their own defense, what do they do with our largesse? They use the money they've saved to expand the social safety net for our citizens. Then it gets worse. Then they use price controls to artificially lower the price of drugs that they import, forcing Americans to pay higher prices. They abuse our auto companies, they abuse our manufacturing, and they set unfair trade policies to keep our industries out of their countries, while we keep them free, while we protect them from adversaries around the world. And in Canada, for example, they charge what roughly amounts to a 15% VAT. We're supposed to be in a free trade deal with Canada. Why are they putting a VAT on every product that we send to Canada? Why are they locking out American agriculture products from their market with outrageously high tariffs? Why are they imposing a digital service tax on our tech industry? Why are they manipulating the supply chain to prevent American auto manufacturing facilities from being in the United States of America? So again, these countries that we are defending, that we are protecting, are taking advantage of us in every conceivable way. And Donald Trump is saying, all those empty factories, all across the United States, you drive to the Rust Belt, you see all these hollowed out factories, we're going to bring them coming back to life by having low taxes here, by having tariffs on countries that take advantage of us, and by stopping the theft of American products from all of our competitors around the world.
All right, Stephen Miller. As always, very articulate. We appreciate it. Joining us now with reaction. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is with us. Scott, I won't mention everything, but if you look at $1.4 trillion in investments from the UAE and another $1 trillion from Saudi Arabia, $500 billion from Apple over 4 years, and $681 million for EV production. Nissan and Honda, they were going to plan some Mexico, now they're going to build them here. Then, of course, you have $100 billion in domestic chip production, $100 billion from a Taiwanese semiconductor company, and I'm scrolling the rest of them. And you tell me how even the talk of tariffs is not a good thing. It has not paid off already for the country.
Sean, since President Trump came in on January 20th, there's just been a line through the Oval Office of countries and companies who want to bring capital, jobs, and factories to the United States. And we are going to accommodate that through great regulation, low taxes, energy dominance, and President Trump is attracting them back through the tariff plan and insisting on fair trade for the American people, something that he's been talking about for the past 30 or 40 years.
Okay, so it's basically we agree to free and fair trade. And if you're going to put unfair tariffs on us, there's going to be reciprocal tariffs in exchange. Okay, that sounds fair. Why would people have a problem with that? Why would the markets become skittish over the uncertainty over what tariffs will remain or leave? You can see at the last minute countries like India, okay, I'm ready to make a deal now. The same with Great Britain, the same with other European countries. I'm ready to talk now because the deadline is coming.
Yep. So April 2nd, we are going to disclose the reciprocal tariffs. I'm not going to get out ahead of President Trump. He's going to announce them 3 o'clock on Wednesday. And I think for the first time in decades, probably since I was a college student, we're going to see fair trade, and everyone will have the opportunity to lower their tariffs, lower their non-tariff barriers, stop the currency manipulation, stop subsidizing labor, stop providing cheap loans, and they make the global trading system fair for American workers again. And if President Trump campaigned on this, he has a mandate, as you know, he had a substantial electoral college majority, he won all 7 swing states, and he won the popular vote. So he has a mandate to do this. He's doing what he promised he would do. He's bringing jobs.
So he wants to make his tax cuts permanent, which I agree with. He wants no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, and nor will he touch Social Security, Medicaid, except to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse, which is a very different scenario. Okay, with all of that said, I've always believed as a conservative and as a supply sider, that a rising tide lifts all boats. Reagan, by cutting taxes, literally doubled revenues in 8 years to the federal government and created 22 million jobs. The first 3 years of the Trump administration, his tax cuts resulted in the lowest unemployment rates for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, women in the workplace, and African American youth unemployment. Why would we expect a different result when it's worked every time in my adult lifetime?
Well, because the Democrats don't want to admit that it worked. And what we saw in President Trump's term was not only fantastic job growth, but fantastic wage growth for all the groups you just named. Working Americans did fantastic under President Trump. Hourly workers did better than supervisory workers. Low-income households saw a higher increase in their household net worth than the top 10%. For the past 4 years, these folks have been getting killed. The bottom 50% has been eviscerated by high inflation, unfettered immigration, suppressing wages, and that's going to come to an end. We are going to make the tax cuts, or the 2017 tax cuts and jobs act. We're going to make it permanent, and then we're going to layer on President Trump's campaign promises, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, and we're going to make purchasing an American car tax deductible again.
All right, Scott Bessent, appreciate it. Fun to watch and hopefully recover fast. When we come back, California Governor Gavin Newsom finally admits that the Democratic Party is toxic. Took him a while. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will weigh in and share his plan to eliminate property taxes on top of no income tax in the state of Florida. So the Democratic Party's approval rating has plummeted since Donald Trump took office, and as the party struggles to find leadership and direction on Friday, California Governor Gavin Newsom was forced to admit during an appearance on Bill Maher's show that the party brand had become toxic. Finally, we agree. Took a long time.
But these guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. We had a high watermark 2 weeks ago, and that was at 29% favorability. When the NBC pulled down to 57%. It's one thing to make noise, but also has to make sense.
Now, Gavin is trying to change because Gavin has started a podcast. He's interviewing conservatives, and it came up when he was talking to Charlie Kirk that the word Latinx has never been used in my office. And then he also added, he said he's against men playing in women's sports, when in fact he advocated for both positions, and he knows the word Latinx really well. Now, here's what he said when Charlie Kirk appeared on the podcast.
The Latinx. Not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx. So can we finally put that to bed? No more Latinx. I just didn't even know where it came from. Like, what are people talking about? Would you say no men, females? I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness. It's deeply unfair.
But the far-left governor's comments, that's a very different story. He had no issue himself, in spite of the knowledge of the word Latinx for years, using it quite often.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. About 3/4 of renters in the state that have fallen behind representing the Latino and African-American community, Latinx and Black communities. Politicians banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not even serious.
And did he forget about this tweet from 2022 attacking Tennessee for pulling funding from schools that allow biological men to compete in women's sports, implying that this was partly responsible for what he called a rise in hate,
maybe instead of political pandering, misleading
the people of his state, liberal governors could learn a thing or two from Republican leaders. Earlier today, Ron DeSantis announced a plan that he said would result in an average of $1,000 in rebate checks for every homestead, meaning if you live in a homestead, you live in the state of Florida, you lock in your property taxes, it can't go up but a small percentage every year, and Governor DeSantis now joins us with more. All right, so you have no state income tax. Now you want to maybe even eliminate property taxes, or at least reduce them significantly?
Well, this year we want to do a $1,000 tax cut for all Florida residents that have their primary residence here. But to get rid of property taxes, you need to go on the ballot, and it's a constitutional change. But we are going to put property tax on the ballot to be able to give homeowners relief. I mean, we've had people flood into Florida, the home values have gone up, and while there's a positive to that, because people have built wealth, they're paying more and more in taxes. And if they have to buy a new home, they're at a much higher basis. And at some point, do you own your own property, or are you just renting from the government? So we're really looking forward to this. And just think about it. We have the luxury of being able to do this because we can tax tourists, we can tax the foreigners, we can tax non-Florida residents to be able to support the needs. And so I really look forward to doing that. And isn't that a contrast, Sean, with the guest or the cut you did with Newsom admitting that the Democratic brand is toxic? Let me tell you, that is not because of bad marketing. It's because the results of their leftism have been toxic. You have defecation in the streets of San Francisco. When you have a map where the entire city's covered in that is toxic. When you see tents all over Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles with homeless everywhere, that is toxic. When you allow people to steal and loot $999 from retail stores without penalty, that is toxic. So they become toxic because they've destroyed the quality of life for millions of people around the country in places like California, New York, and Illinois with their leftist policies. And so people voted with their feet, they have rejected that, and now you see in these polling results, people are just looking at what they see.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons I had to get out of New York. Also, really wasn't well liked. I had two governors, the current governor and the governor before this governor, that said, if you're conservative, there's no place for you in the state of New York, and we welcome me with open arms, and I'm very grateful. There's a great story.
And your name, the people in Florida, they appreciate you being here. When you're out, people cheer you on, cussing you out. It's a great change. You deserve it.
I don't have to be, have my martial arts mindset on 24/7. It's great. This story may be unprecedented. So the Biden administration gives you $1 billion that you don't want because it has all these strings attached. And you try to give it back, and they wouldn't take it because they didn't know how to take it back. But then you met with Elon Musk, and he said, I'll take it back. Is that what happened?
Yeah, our view is we're not going to take money and then have them change our behavior as a state to where we're adopting the woke agenda when our whole state is based on the idea that we're fighting woke. We say Florida's the place where woke goes to die. So we didn't want to accept the money, but we said, hey, we're not going to accept it. You guys want it back. They're like, we don't even know how to take it back. So we had this. So I went up to see Elon a week or two ago, and I said, here's the thing. And he was like, you really want to give money back? We'll find a way to do it. So I think within like a couple hours, they figured out a way to accept it, and so that is done. So I would just challenge
other states, particularly with Republican governors, if you have any of that money lingering over for those 5 years with those woke strings attached, don't change your behavior, reject the money, get on the team, and help the Doge efforts.
Give the statistics on Florida. I know Florida's number one in education. But you don't have an income tax. You want to lower dramatically property taxes or eliminate them, and you're going to put that before the voters in 2026. All right. How come states that have enormous income tax, massive property taxes, they have far worse infrastructure than Florida, New York being a great case in point?
So number one in education 2 years in a row, number one in higher education 8 years in a row, number one in economy 2 years in a row, lowest per capita debt in the United States since I've been governor, over the 180-year period of Florida's history, of all the debt the state accumulated, we paid off 41% of that. We're also number one in talent development, entrepreneurship. We have a 50-year low in the crime rate. But our budget, with millions of more people than New York, is less than half of New York's budget. Our roads are better, our schools are better, and our services are better. It's a lot easier to get a driver's license in Florida than it is in New York.
By the way, no wonder why every time Vivek Ramaswamy is on the show, he's saying he wants to copy everything you're doing, which, by the way, to credit him, is a pretty smart thing to do. Governor DeSantis, we appreciate you. When we come back, major elections taking place tomorrow. Pay attention. This matters around the country. It will have reverberations around the country. Wisconsin, my free state of Florida. We've got the latest polls. We'll hear from the candidates exclusively tonight on Hannity. All right, believe it or not, tomorrow is election day in America. House Republicans hope to add to their narrow majority with two special elections my state of Florida. The election in Florida's first district is not expected to be particularly close, given that it is in the Panhandle. It is the single reddest district in the entire state. All polls have been a little closer in Florida's sixth district. That includes Daytona Beach. We're going to have both results for you tomorrow night. But tomorrow, all eyes will be on the important state of Wisconsin. Voters will decide the balance of power on the state Supreme Court. Elon Musk was there this weekend. She's campaigning in Green Bay. The conservative candidate, Brad Schimmel. As a matter of fact, Elon has a contest where you will earn $20 for each Wisconsin resident. You recruit to vote for Brad. Just head out in your neighborhood, get a picture with the voter, holding up a photo of Brad in one hand, thumbs up in the other hand, you get $20. And by the way, if you get 100 people to do it, you will be named a block general and get $200 bonus for that. A new poll from Topical and Insider Advantage shows basically dead-even race heading into election day, a slight edge for the liberal judicial activists. Here with more, pollsters Matt Towery, Robert Ke1Lan3's. All right, this is going to tip the balance of power, Robert, in Wisconsin on the Supreme Court. They're going to have redistricting in that state. And the way Democrats want to redistrict Wisconsin, they would pick up probably a minimum of 2 states. This is a big deal. Most people don't know this is happening tomorrow.
But there's no question. One of the most important parts of the Trump coalition is local propensity voters. And so the Republicans are now disadvantaged. The Democrats have a more reliable and consistent voting bloc. But I'm convinced that if anybody, the team that's on the ground in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, is the best the Republicans have to offer. If anybody can turn out the unique Trump voter in a special election, I think this team can do it.
Okay. Matt Towery, what do you say going into tomorrow to the people of Wisconsin? What strategies can be employed at this late hour, maybe to tip the balance towards the conservative jurist, not the activist jurist?
Well, I agree with what Robert said. Look, you don't have the ballot. You don't have Trump on the ballot, so you need something else. Elon Musk is creating phenomenal last-minute energy and momentum. It's critical to try and win a race. Even though this race is close right now, I feel like it's closing in favor of Trump. The other thing I would say is this. The people in Wisconsin have to understand that special elections are not like a regular election. You have to turn out because if there's a low voter turnout, oftentimes the group that wins the White House, they get sort of lackadaisical thereafter. They have to turn out in big numbers in order to bring this race close and push him over the edge. She leads in the early voting.
Okay, so if you're President Trump's team, what is the best thing to do last minute? Is it tweeting out? Is it making phone calls? Robocalls? What is it?
Well, Donald Trump.
All right, Robert first.
I would say sending out text messages and autocalls to his and making sure they're energized. Because like Matt said, Democrats are leading the early vote. However, among those who say they're likely to vote, the Republicans have an edge here. So it's just a matter of turning those voters out and bringing this thing home.
Matt, you agree?
Outreach has to come with Trump's words, either in voice or directly from him. You can't just say President Trump endorsing someone. He's got to get them excited and let Elon deliver that message and get them turned out.
All right, Matt Towery, Robert Ke1Lan3, thank you both for joining us now live. Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate Brad Schimmel is with us. What is at stake here besides redistricting? You know, there are many cases that come before the Supreme Court that deal with the balance of power between the legislature and the executive branch and the courts. And many of our election integrity laws are ended up in front of this court. You can see the rules we put in our legislature put in place in recent years to try to protect our election integrity get struck down by this activist court.
Yeah. All right. So if you get on the board, you believe in the Constitution. You know, I don't know why there's resistance to voter ID signature verification,
updated voter rules, chain of custody, mail-in ballots, why you don't have partisan observers watching the voting all day and all night. That seems like common sense to me if you want integrity in the system, no? Yes, and over 75% of Wisconsinites agree with all of that. My opponent was the attorney that went after her when she was in private practice. She sued to try to take down the voter ID law. She called it draconian. She compared it to a poll tax. All those things we're pushing out to board so they understand what's at stake in this election.
All right, we're going to be watching real closely. Mr. Schimmel, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. Joining us now, Republican congressional candidates Jimmy Trump and Randy Fine. Jimmy, you are running for Matt Gaetz' old seat. Pretty conservative area. I'm not all that worried about you, but this is a turnout election.
Well, Sean, Northwest Florida loves Sean Hannity, so he'll use your voters. Just get everybody out. Yeah. Exactly what we need. The concern we got is just like your pollster said. Special elections do not have propensity for turnout. Elections have seasons and you should vote in November, not on April, especially not April. So anybody's looking for the precinct, you go to joinjimmy.com. We've got the location. We should need the votes.
Randy Fine, you can't take anything for granted, especially in an election like this. How is to get out where you are? This is Mike Waltz's old seat.
Well, it's going great, Sean, and thanks for having me. The issue we have is that Democrats are angry because every time Donald Trump wins, they lose. They want open borders. They don't want to stop the waste, fraud, and abuse. And so they've voted, and a majority of Republicans haven't, and we need them to go and vote. My race is simple. I'm endorsed by Donald Trump. He asked me to run. My opponent just got endorsed by Bernie Sanders. He describes himself as a proud socialist. And so voters have to decide whether they want the Trump agenda to continue or a socialist. And so if people want to figure out where to vote, they go to my website, voterandyfine.com. Polls open at 7 a.m. And President Trump's supporters go and vote tomorrow to stand with the Trump agenda against this crazy, as President Trump calls him, lunatic, then we're going to win big. And we just need every Republican to go and vote tomorrow. Find your polling place at voterandyfine.com.
How is the ground game in your case, Randy?
Well, it's going great. We've made 200,000 volunteer calls just in the last week. We've got paid calling, we've got door knocking. I knocked 200 doors myself yesterday. In fact, one person I knocked on the door yelled at me because they just got a call 15 minutes before. So we are working extremely hard. We just did a town hall tonight with Congressman Byron Donalds that activated tens of thousands of people. He's been great in helping me, along with President Trump, who did telephone halls for me and Jimmy just last week. We're very confident that if Republicans will go and vote tomorrow, again, go to joinjimmy.com. Go to voterandyfine.com, find your precinct, and if they go and vote, we're both going to be just fine and have great nights for President Trump tomorrow.
All right, Randy, Daytona Beach and the surrounding area, Jimmy Petronas, that would be the Panhandle, Destin, Walton Beach. I assume you also include the Florida Bama. Not that I've ever been there, a few thousand times.
Great place.
It's a great place, there's no doubt about it.
Church service on Sunday on the beach.
Church service on the beach on Sunday. That's one way to describe what I've seen there. We appreciate you both. Good luck you both tomorrow. All right, coming up, a disgraceful video jazz project is now resurfaced.